From the broken ruins of Babylon, this is End of Days Radio. I am your host, Daniel, broadcasting all the way from the shimmering Emerald City, right here in the heart of the Pacific Northwest. Today is Sunday, January 16th. I'm sorry. January 16th. Our guest today is none other than Josh Monday. Some of you might remember I recently appeared on the Josh Monday Christian and Conspiracy podcast. And I'm just going to go ahead and read the bio from the Christian and Conspiracy podcast page so we can kind of get a little bit of an idea of Josh Monday and who he is. And you may remember I was actually on this podcast not long ago. So you might want to go back and check that out because I thought it was a really good interview. I'm proud of it. And there's a reason why I'm bringing Josh Monday on today. So I highly encourage you to do that. So also, we did not do a show last Friday because there's a show today. I did not want to do a show Friday night and then another one Sunday night. Sorry, that's a lot. But I do apologize for not putting on the weekly show. I know that's really annoying, but I digress. So Josh Monday, this is a description of his podcast. This podcast is two brothers exposing the evil we face in this world. We go over conspiracy theories and show the audience how it relates to the Bible. We will feature one guest a week, so you will get different perspective and personalities weekly. The host, Josh Monday, that's our guest, is a Christian rapper and Army veteran. His co-host, Jason Monday, that is his brother, I believe. Yeah. His co-host, Jason Monday, is a Christian, a father, and devoted husband. You will see a variety of different podcasts come through and be guests on the show, rap artists, pastors, subject matter experts, and servants of the Lord. Please listen with an open heart and share with everyone. And then also from his Instagram, Josh Monday, God first, husband, dad, Christian rap artist, U.S. Army veteran. So he's actually a veteran. That's cool. And of course, Josh Monday, Christian Conspiracy podcast host. There's that. So looking forward to this interview. Before we go ahead and bring him up on the screen and up to talk to for our audio audience, I do want to just run over a couple quick things. So obviously go to endofdaysradio.com. From there, you can get an updated guest list so you know who's actually coming on the show, when I'm going to be doing the show. I can be a little late to update that webpage, but now that I'm doing more shows, I'm starting to get back on it again, get back on the horse. I hope I'm not making too many promises that I'm not fulfilling fully, but I'm doing my best here. Times are rough, so give me a break. On the website, you can also donate. So you can use PayPal, you can use Bitcoin, and I'm also working on a third way of donating. So stay tuned for that. I know a lot of people are opposed to PayPal, so I'm going to be integrating an alternative, and I need those donations. Thank you to everybody. Thank you very, very much to everybody that donated. That is helping me so much. It helped me so much this month. Thank you so much. Really helps me make ends meet. Helps me keep the lights on, helps me keep the server up, helps me keep a smile on my face. So your donations really do mean everything. I'll never charge you for this show. I promise to never do that. But if you donate, I never have to. And I never would, even if I had to. So there's that. Water, no Mountain Dew. I'm working on a new diet. I'm cleansing my body. I'm not going to come on here and make a bad example and eat tons of pepperoni sticks and Mountain Dew and stuff like that. Good old-fashioned spring water. Don't drink the water in Seattle. It's nasty. It'll turn you into a mutant. And last thing, go ahead and go to endofdaysradio.com and click on that link to join our Discord chat. Really getting into the Discord. We're up to about 70 members now. So it's growing rapidly. Really need all of you guys to go ahead and join the Discord. This will be a way to see the behind the scenes of the show, to help plan the show, to help research. There's a lot of good research going on in there. So if you're a fan of the show or me or the stuff I talk about, please join the Discord and get kind of the backstage on that. But other than that, let's go ahead and get our guest on. Excuse me. It's 8 minutes in and it's time to party. and hopefully everybody can hear me okay, and we're doing good in that aspect. No complaints so far, so I assume we're good. Okay, let's bring on Josh Monday.
What's up, dude? Daniel, thank you so much for having me on, dude. I really appreciate you. Last time you were on the show, bro, you definitely crushed it, bro. And I thought it was a great show. I enjoyed it. Me and my brother both. And thank you for having me on, bro. I really appreciate you.
Awesome. Yeah. Definitely, definitely thankful to have been on your program. I had a great time, and it helped me sharpen up tremendously. Just made me realize some things I could tighten up on to really carry my message forth. So
Mm,
thank you for having me on there, and I'm excited to have you on my show. And
yeah.
yeah, um, I do like to just kind of start off going back to the beginnings of your life to kind of get an idea of who you are. And I do this with every guest. Some guests want to kind of skip through it and
It's all good.
some get more into it. Though. Yeah, but basically, I like to just start off by asking, kind of like, where exactly you're from. As you know, I'm in Seattle. I grew up here. Where are you from? And what was your childhood like? Was it a miserable upbringing? Was it a pretty wholesome upbringing? Can you give us a little insight into your past, Josh?
So I grew up in Asperia, California, which is like a small town in Southern California. Okay, so probably about maybe an hour away from Los Angeles. Um, I growing up, my parents got a divorce early. You know, like when I was like 13. We started. My dad like kind of made it like a bachelor pad where we could smoke weed, do coke, do all these drugs. You know, he once he broke up with my mom or divorced my mom, it was like he just gave us like free reign. So he was more like a friend than a dad. You know, so I was able to party so much at a young age, and it kind of it took me in a direction of rapping and going to parties and trying to battle people and winning battles in Victorville. And that's what got me on the rapping part. As far as the drugs, that was hitting me for a while, like doing kind of messing with the hard drugs, even because up in Hesperia there's a lot of there's a lot of hard drugs. So I did that for a while. I would still work my job, no problem. I was just, going to the clubs, hanging out with girls. And at some point I met my wife, dude. And once I met my wife, she kind of, I slowed down on the partying and I was still kind of dabbling here and there, because I like when I would like to rap and do that. So um what happened is she took me to Calvary Chapel out here in Diamond Bar, California, with this pastor Raul Reese, and I went there and he had an altar call, and I went up there. I was I was crying, feeling disgusted about everything I was doing, um, and I ended up getting saved. I dropped to my knees. I felt the whole thing. Um, and what I did was, I backslid a little bit here and there. It's hard to keep it up, and I ended up going into the military. And what I did is I used the military to start working out, getting healthy, kick the drugs, and start actually learning some discipline. And once I learned discipline in my life, everything kind of went, according to plan. God basically, I think He put me in boot camp for me to get stripped of all this disgustingness and end up getting some discipline in my life. And once I came, I kind of used working out and the military and dieting as a way to keep keep my walk a clean walk if I can. If I have a clean diet and I'm working out, usually I have a pretty clean walk with God. So yeah, that's kind of my story. Once I got deployed, I came back, purchased a house, had kids, I got the wife, I got the picket fence, and God is great, and it took me a long time though. I'm 38 now. Um to have that happen. Once you deploy, you can come back and do the VA loan. So when my younger years, I never thought I would ever own a house. I just thought I was just going to be, an apartment owner because my family didn't grow up with money. So,
So I take it you are a homeowner now?
yes, I'm an actual homeowner now. God is great. I work. I used my military experience to become a water treatment operator, and then I got all my certificates through the state of California, and I just ended up working for the city of Rialto. So It's like everything fell into place, but it took me to sacrifice all that myself, and strip myself and humble myself for God to bless my life, and I did so much bad to God that I'm so happy that he still gives me grace.
Yeah, especially guys that are getting out of the military, it could be really hectic because so many people get out, they don't know what to do, they feel lost, et cetera, et cetera. That's awesome though. You got into the water treatment. I heard that that profession does pretty good.
Yeah, I went in there with the intentions to get my certificates and just go go 150. Usually when I do something, it's like 150, or nothing. So, and everything ended up working out. As far as my rap career, I was a secular rapper for the longest. I just used to I used to go, like, when I was 14, I started going to Los Angeles, South Central, rapping in like the craziest studio with gangsters. But they got along with me, because I was just a real person. And I'm not saying that I was like some hard person that could beat people up, but I was just being real to them. And it wasn't really about me being white. It was more about like, wow, I respect the fact that you come down to South Central and you rap on the microphone with no problems and you don't mind doing it. So I got signed to a record label before, to Swab Records. I did that for about 2 years. I paid for my prom like that because, like I said, my family didn't have much money, and I paid for my clothes, my school clothes, all that stuff through rapping. And I just ended up when I was like 18, I went to the Staples Center and actually got to meet Suge Knight. He came. The person that I was with at the time had a box at the Staples Center, and he was coming down the escalator, and I ended up freestyling for him. So I got really close to signing with Suge Knight and Death Row Records. Uh, there's a crazy story with that. I don't like to keep telling it because I don't want to get killed, but there's a crazy story that goes along with that, man. Like, his general manager was, how they say there's kind of homo stuff in the industry, hip hop
Yeah.
industry. Well, I firsthand kind of found that out, dude, from the general manager of Death Row, which is the most gangster label at the time. He invited me to a party. I think, oh man, this is awesome. I'm with the general manager of Death Row. I got to wear his chain. But afterwards, he was drunk and he took me to his house, and he was just like letting me rap and do all this stuff. And I was like, into the moment. And then he kind of came on to me, and I was like, whoa, I just bounced out. And that kind of gave me a really sour taste with the industry.
What was it that made you feel that way? Did you see something in particular?
Oh, he came on to me like he wanted to hook up with me.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he came on to me, bro. Like, he literally came on to me. I was like,
Whoa.
whoa. I kind of ducked out of the way, and I was like, I was only 18 at the time, young kid. I mean, I was like, whoa, okay. So I told him, hey, you know what? I'm not into that. I took off. So I got flown out to Universal Texas before. I was really close to actually making it in the industry, and thank God I didn't, bro. When I see all the stuff that's actually happening with the industry. So I ended up going Christian rap, and 100%, I got about 10 or 11 songs out right now. I got some features that I've done. And I kind of just take it slow. At first I was like, I'm going to spend as much money as I need to make it. And then I realized, like, hey, you know what? This is a big money pot that is very hard to make it in if you don't have like a real backing. So I just do my thing with it. And, if I get features here and there, I'll do it. Or I just try to, I try to put out a song here and there. I can't just put out song after song like I was doing.
So when you were growing up, did you listen to a lot of rap? Did you listen to how old are you, Josh?
I'm 38.
Okay, so you're about the same age as me. I'm 39.
Yeah.
I remember listening to like Tupac, Eminem, Limp
Yes.
Bizkit,
Yeah.
uh, Snoop Dogg,
Yeah.
Dr. Dre, all the people that were
Cypress Hill.
Cypress. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Cypress
Yeah,
Hill.
Cypress Hill, bro. That's who actually had me start rapping, because I would smoke weed and just listen to Cypress Hill, and I would rap to anybody that would listen, dude. I don't even care. I would, if I went to a party, I would find people that were rapping. I would go to them, or I would ask each person, "Hey, do you rap? Do you rap? Do you rap?" And if they did, I would start freestyling for them to try to get my skills and sharpen it. And I was really really into it. Like, I wanted to really really make it. But it's, like I said, man, it just turns into uh chasing it for your own pride, right? So once I learned take it and start praising God instead and giving him the glory, it's a whole different feeling when I'm in there and actually rapping. You know, there's so much
Is it kind of a
feeling and
high?
heart.
Is it kind of a high you get?
Doing it, yes, it kind of is a high, but it's like it's a different kind of than I used to get. I used to get a high, like a prideful high, like dang, that was the sickest, dopest rap I've done, or that's the illest bars. That's this. That's the I love this beat, the way I float on it. But now it's more like I'm trying to flow for God, and I'm trying to be more inspired by the Holy Spirit. I'm trying to lead people to God. And once I started the podcast, my music career went from a song a month to like maybe a song every 3, maybe 4 months, because the podcast takes up so much time, as you know.
Yeah.
I'm not the type that'll just put a guest on and not know anything and just be like, and not have any notes. I have I'm just like you, bro. I research. I make sure I have everything ready to go. So when we have the podcast, I try to have a bunch of knowledge that I could spit too, similar
Yeah,
to
I've
you.
gotten in trouble with that before. I mean, there's some people, they don't even care if you're prepared, and there's other people, you throw one wrong thing at them, they're like, "What? Did you read my books? Do you even know who I am?" Stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I know
Like
exactly what you mean.
a great guest, dude. Like you can literally mention anything, I feel, and Gary Wayne will just take it and talk for like 10 minutes, dude. It's hard to prepare for his podcast when I have him on, because he is very. I know you had him on before, right?
Yeah, I've had him on a few times. Gary Wayne, definitely one of my favorites, and you're
Yes.
still right about that. He's such a nice guy, just very kind-hearted.
Kind-hearted, God-fearing Christian. He is like researches like crazy. You can literally tell him like, "Hey Gary, you know, like what as far as the apocalypse, like what do you think about that?" And he could go for 10 minutes and just be like, "Oh, well, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this secret society, the Nephilim," and you're just like, "Wow, dude, like this is amazing." You can literally just ask him anything and he can go off on it.
Yeah, you're making me realize I gotta get him on again because so much has happened with all this, craziness in the world. I'd love to hear his take on that. The game has definitely changed a bit. But hey, I did want to ask, um, you kind of talked about the gay thing, and I've heard
Yeah,
that very many times, especially in rap, unfortunately.
yeah.
What about Satanism? Do you feel that there's a lot of Satanism in the music industry today?
I 1000% feel like there's a lot of Satanism. You don't even have to be an expert on any type of research to know that, dude. If you could watch, everybody's got the one hand over the eye. They got, the sixes, 3 o'clock in the morning. There's several different things that you could pick up on as a beginning researcher. When you dig deep and deep, like literally what I feel like, in the Bible, um, Jesus, when he was walking the earth, the devil took Jesus onto the highest mountain and he was tempting him, saying that all these kingdoms can be yours. I literally feel like, because in Hebrews 13:1, it says that an angel, you never know when you're entertaining an angel. So I literally feel like the devil can come down in human form. And I think he literally does have you sign a contract or sell your soul, or at least his fallen angels are talking to you and you're actually making a pact with them that you will not do anything but that type of music, and everything you push, you're not going to have any rights to your music videos, because I know Chance the Rapper and a couple people that actually have like a somewhat Christian or positive feel. He said that they threw an upside down cross in one of his videos, and he didn't even, he just saw it in the background. He was like, "Hey, I don't want that in my video." So they, at least I know that the creative control is happening with the industry people that are running the industry, and I believe that Satan is, I mean, you could tell, bro. You got crack dealers that are making people that don't even sell crack. First of all, Rick Ross, he talks about being a crack dealer and he stole everything from Ricky Ross. Okay. He hasn't sold any crack in his life. He was actually a correctional officer. But what he does is he comes out and he just portrays this character. So they're like almost like actors in a movie. Snoop Dogg, if you kind of look up his record, he was only 18 when he got in the industry, so he didn't really gangbang for that long. So what they do is they kind of buy their way into the gang, or they buy a backing of the Crip gang or something like that. Some of the realest rappers that I know, dude, that I felt was real was like this guy Gangster Drayster, which he was the one that dissed Dr. Dre back in the day, and his brother, dude, BG Knockout. Those two were probably the realest in rap because they were actually gangbanging. They were Nutty Block Crips, and they were talking about how Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg were fake. You know, which is once you realize now it's true. Ice Cube, he's not a gangbanger. Dr. Dre, never a gangbanger, dude. Like before he even got big, he was with the World Class Wrecking Crew. You know, so you'll see, dude, that all they're trying to do is influence people to create, commit crimes, influence people to be in jail. Misery enjoys company. So everybody that has life sentence in jail are trying to attract as many people that are on the streets to jail to get a life sentence. And then, so it's interesting, man. But Satan is at work, dude, for sure.
Yeah, like me thinking about rap, I was kind of from that generation where pretty much everybody listened to rap. There was rock rap too, which a lot of the kind of wider kids were into because they felt like they could relate to it better. But I just feel like there's this philosophy in rap, like you have to have been to prison, you have to be hard, you have to embrace a darker lifestyle, not only to fit in, but to really have any respect in the rap industry. And this all feels very negative to me. Like a lot of the lyrics you hear, it's slap that biatch,
Yeah.
drink that 40 ouncer, smoke that crack, kill people, be proud of killing people, don't feel bad about killing people, go to prison, be proud of going to prison. It just feels almost like it's just a pure pathway to Satan in some ways.
For sure, bro. It's not even a pathway. It's like a direct path to Satan. And also look into it, bro. Back in the day, the record companies ended up investing in the private prison systems. So what they were doing is they went from conscious rap, but there was like Common and a couple other people that were kind of like more conscious rap. They kicked those people to the curb, and they brought all the gangster rap, the NWA, all the different gangster rap. They put it on the scene because they had money in the private prison systems. So what happens is the more people that they get in prison, they have to make sure it's 95% full for them to get money. So they had all these stocks and bonds. It was Virgin Records, Atlantic Records, all these major record companies were invested in private prisons. So what do? They try to get the black youth and the teenagers, and they take the music and they try to, because it's just, dude, it's like witchcraft, bro. Music can be like witchcraft, literally. And it's really like you put it in a certain tone, low frequency, high frequency, a certain beat, these certain lyrics, they backmask. There's all these different things that they do with this music, bro. But it's literally like doing witchcraft on a beat in some ways.
Yeah, I agree, especially rap, especially because it always has a heavy bass line, almost always. And bass has a way of just kind of penetrating your body and getting your rhythm of your body, like your heartbeat and all of that kind of in rhythm with the music. So it makes you wonder, like you have this bass line kind of opening up the subconscious, possibly. I mean, from what little I know about hypnotism. And then at the same time, you're hitting people with these extremely negative lyrics. It's not only about violence, but also about materialism. Like, I have the most, I have a Lambo, I have a Tesla, I have the stereo system, I have everything. Where I'm thinking like, well, is this really the mentality that we should have? I mean, what does this really lead to? This is exactly how Satan wants us to feel, just all about money and all about being better than other people. I don't really vibe to that. And it's refreshing when somebody actually has a message that's different. Like me, I got into a rap group called Jedi Mind Tricks. Are you?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Jedi Mind Tricks is awesome, dude. They got lyrics, a whole different feeling, What you had a good point there. So man, I forgot what I was gonna say, dude. You had a good point you were talking about.
The lyrics and
materialism.
materialism.
So I think you were talking about like the bass line or something, like literally, bro, like back in the day, like if I wanted to get in a fight with somebody, if I was listening to like an Eminem song that I like really, really like, you know what I mean? Like it gets you in the mood. It can actually literally alter your mood into a way where you're like aggressive, or a way that you're happy, or maybe if you're drinking, maybe a way where you're mad. You know what I mean? Like some of the rock music can make you like really want to tear someone's head off. So yeah, dude, it has a way, like I said, of altering your mind, in a positive way in some ways, but most of the time, like with some of the music that we used to listen to, or the stuff that's out, like you said, materialistic. Dude, the Bible is 1000% against all that, dude. Like that's why Jesus didn't come as a king, bro. Like he could have came like King Solomon. He could have been in a big mansion. He could have been in the best king, which is Israel, what Israel wanted. But Jesus came as a servant. You know what I mean? He came as a servant. He would wash your feet. He showed you how to serve, bro. Like love. You know, it's a whole different thing than what the people expected of their King of Kings. Or their
Yeah,
Messiah.
the washing feet thing has really stood out lately to me because a lot of people hear that and they're like, "What does that mean? Why wash people's feet?" And I'm like, "Look, you don't really get it. He's basically saying, I'm no better than you. I'm walking with you hand in hand. I'm not trying to lift myself up. Just about everybody in society is like that. It's all about being better than the neighbors, et cetera, et cetera. But people need to understand that that's not what Christ's message was. It was
For sure,
literally
dude.
about, like, I'm gonna wash your feet. That's like the most disgusting thing that you can do is wash somebody's, fungusy smelling feet. But for him to be willing to do that, that says a lot about the way that he viewed things.
Yeah, it's like he's a true servant, which is amazing, dude. And it was just he just had the total package. It was awesome. That it's like I just you just look at things differently, because when someone asks you to serve, like like your flesh will be like, like I want to do this, I want to do that, I don't want to be serving. So, once you read the Bible, understand the message that Jesus truly had, you'll have a different outlook on stuff like that. So, but covetousness, like you were talking about, dude, it's so bad in the Bible, dude. There's like every single song that you rap song you can listen to breaks the 10 commandments, bro. Like sometimes in one song you can hear it break the 10 commandments. So yeah, it's interesting, man, for sure.
And I'm glad you brought up Eminem because like I could say I was massively into Eminem when I was in high school. I had the white t-shirt, the bleached hair, double bleached hair.
I had bleached hair too, bro. I did too. So
You're a Slim Shady clone too. You're
yeah,
part of
bro. I
but
like his lyrics, man. Dude, he's one of the dopest rappers ever, dude. Like as far as wordplay, he's like a genius. Can you imagine, dude, what he could do if he was actually a Christian rapper making lyrics for God now, because he has talked about, if you hear his old stuff, he's talking about Christianity. I went to Christianity through this insanity, like he's talking about that, but he had to sell his soul for the industry. You can hear some of the songs where he's talking about that. The devil wants his soul back. And you know, now he's just gonna continue making the music he's making. But he would be an amazing soldier for Christ, bro. It would be so awesome, dude, if he would actually turn into a Christian rapper, which probably will never happen, but I just think it would be an interesting thing.
yeah, I agree with you 100% because if you watch his career, I mean, you can tell he was real in the beginning. Like he's a real kid trying to make it in Detroit. There's people that remember him, and then all of a sudden, it's like he gets hooked up with Dr. Dre, and it's like he's just rapping about the devil all the time. Devil this, devil that, devil's in my head, Satan's in my mind. And even
Yeah.
his newer stuff, you never hear him say anything about God or Christ or anything like that. How
No.
explosive would it be if all of a sudden Eminem one day comes out and actually just says one line about God and talks about how he has some
Bro,
faith?
that's why I used to like DMX, because DMX would always have one song about God. He would have a prayer on his album, which I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. 15 songs he's talking about gang banging and being in New York and boom, shot, guns going off. But then he would always have a prayer and he would always have a song about God or talking to God on every single album, which, dude, at the time, even when I wasn't like 100% committed to Christ, I used to love that. He would be on stage, bro, crying. Everybody in the audience would be crying because he was praying, and he was like, you could feel his emotion in his voice. He was dealing with so many demons. You know, he had some interesting stuff too, man. There was an album cover where he had blood on him. It was blood on my blood, flesh on my flesh, I believe, something like that. It was like, dude, that was not even like that was goat's blood. And that's crazy. But his manager said actually that was goat's blood. He went to that set and he got a contract that day, DMX, right? And it said that if you come out with another album in the same year, we'll give you a bonus of $1 million, but you're gonna have to do this, this for your album cover. Which there was blood, but he thought it was fake blood, but it would end up being goat's blood. So it's almost like a goat obviously would you could you could connect with Satan, and so he bathed his whole body in blood. You see a lot of, even one of the Kardashians recently was laying in a bathtub with blood. I've seen Lady Gaga do the same thing. It's like a type of ritual, that they do, and it's just money is what they're doing it for. Money, fame, women, and he happened to be addicted to crack cocaine, so that kind of got
Yeah,
him.
I think that goes back to some of the stuff I was getting into when I went on your guys' program about the order of the bath and
Yes,
bathery, bathing in blood, and extending your lifespan through the the chemicals in the blood and all that. It's really, when you get into the Illuminati, it's just some freaky stuff, and it's like you never really get to the bottom of that rabbit hole.
I know, bro. And Jesus, like the blood of Christ, like they just mock, Satan just mocks God. He does this, like it does the opposite of God, and that's just the way it works. So like the blood, that's why, when you're talking about these JABs that are going around it, and they talk about the mRNA type stuff. That's why people like me, Christians that are like truly Christian, that really study and look into that type of stuff. I know that the blood is very it's very important, dude, especially God's DNA. If you look at Genesis 6, you see that Satan had fallen angels have sex with humans so that way he could change the DNA. He doesn't have enough angels. He's got a third of the angels, so he needs more. So he's trying to get himself some more soldiers in a way, So that's why I think the blood, like you were talking about, is an important thing. It has life in it,
Yeah, it makes
DNA.
me think of, what you just said makes me think of those alien abductions too, because supposedly they're always picking up women and actually impregnating them with the so-called alien seed. Who knows if that's what they're really even doing? But then they take these women to the side and they're like, "Yeah, this is your baby. We're gonna raise it up here in the stars." And a lot of Christians think that this could be like an illusion, some kind of illusion cast by demonic spirits. But I don't know, because like you said, back in Genesis and of course the book of Enoch, they're
Uh,
talking about creating Nephilim, which are hybrids between fallen angels and humans. So they probably are actually taking people's seed, and they probably do have an army somewhere of these hybrids, and
or
who knows when we're going to meet them.
or just the fallen angels. I mean, the fallen angels, they're gonna, they're a third of the angels came down, bro. Like a demon is different than a fallen angel. If you study it, like a demon, like a lot of like pastors like believe, like Chuck Missler and some of these people that I study, that they think that demons are actually the Nephilim spirit, because they couldn't get saved because they weren't saved by Jesus, so they ended up becoming demons. A fallen angel is different. A fallen angel could come in the form of a human. I think a fallen angel could come in the form of a reptilian. I think a fallen angel could come in the form of whatever you're is attracting people at that time, whatever new age movement, whatever thing that David Icke is talking about, it could come in whatever is popular at the time. So if UFOs and aliens are big, it could come. I believe a fallen angel could come in the form of a gray or a Nordic or something like that, and I believe that could happen. But if you say in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, like most of everything I've heard from people that studied this stuff, that right there stops what's happening in this tracks. So I don't believe that aliens from another planet, I don't believe that could even be possible, in my opinion. I believe that they're interdimensional fallen angels and that they are able to transform into reptilians or something like that, if it is real, because I don't know, I've never seen it myself. I just heard a lot of stories, and you know what I mean. I don't want
Yeah,
to say this is
there's a lot of
100%
things
real.
there's a lot of things that make sense about that, because we know that Satan lies. We know that his demons or his servants lie. So why should
All the
we
time.
Yeah. So why should we immediately believe this narrative about aliens coming from other planets when we know that the NASA pictures are fake? They're CGI. We
Yeah,
we don't have any firsthand evidence of the Earth being round. My senses have always told me that it's flat. In fact, you and me were kind of going back and forth on Insta earlier, talking a
yeah,
little bit
bro.
about flat Earth. And if you're looking at the flat Earth model, all of a sudden aliens seem less likely, and the whole Nephilim, demonic fallen angel seems a lot more likely.
Yeah, and UFOs, come on, guys. Like, you guys don't think that we're 50 years ahead of whatever we know about in the government. I was in the army. I didn't have like a top secret security clearance, but they're not going to tell you what they have. They're not going to tell China, Russia, or anybody in the news what we literally have. So when you see a UFO in the sky flying, you know, there are some that are defying the laws of gravity or whatever, but I believe that is some stuff that that are human made. It's not something from another planet coming here, and that's what I believe. I'm not. You don't have to take it from me. I'm not like a UFO expert, but I've had UFO people on my show, Christian UFO people, and some that weren't, and most of them will agree that it's more interdimensional, that it's not coming from another planet. Now, some people believe it came from inside the earth. So there's some people that have the hollow earth theory, and if you look into that, it's pretty interesting. There's Bible verses where Jesus talks about ascending to heaven and descending into the earth, okay, inside the earth. In Job, the devil goes and talks to, no, I don't, this guy said it's flat, man. I believe it's flat as well, okay, guys, but I do believe that Sheol or hell is below us. When you're a kid, what you do is you believe that heaven is up and hell is down, and I literally believe that to this day. I believe that it is flat. I believe there is a firmament. God in Genesis, the first day he created the heavens and the earth, right? The second day he created the firmament and the waters. The third day he created the land. The fourth day he created the sun, the moon, and the stars also. So if you think about that order, he would create the sun first and then the planets so that they can revolve around it. And first of all, if you guys believe that we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and going 666,000 miles an hour around the sun, and we're not feeling any motion whatsoever, you got to be crazy. There's no way. And you got to think about the balls of these astronauts if this is true. If they think that we're going 66,600 miles an hour around the sun, which is like a number you can't even fathom how fast that is, and they just take their ship and they go around the moon like no problem. What if they would have got outside of the Earth's gravity and the moon would have slammed into their little stupid rocket ship that was made out of tinfoil? What would happen then? Imagine the guts of these astronauts. If they truly did go to the moon and all that stuff was true, my goodness, you have to think about the Van Allen radiation belt. You have to think about going 239,000 miles away. You don't know how cold, how hot. You have no clue what's going on as you're going 239,000 miles away from the Earth. So how could they just go from not being able to do this whatsoever and Warner von Braun saying that it's going to be impossible unless we had rocket ships that were huge, the size of Empire State Building, like 3 of them, and then they ended up going to the moon. It's just doesn't make sense to me, at all. It doesn't make sense.
I totally agree. In fact, one thing that I find to be hilarious is whenever I'm talking about flat Earth on Twitter or really anywhere else, all of a sudden I have just dozens and dozens of these people. I don't know if they're paid or they're agents or they're bots or what, but they just start attacking, ridiculing, calling names, just ad hominem right from the start. And you have to ask yourself, if flat Earth is so ridiculous, so comical, such bullshit as they want us to believe, then why do they go so crazy from it? Why do they completely lose their lose their shit and just totally just go nuts on you when you're doing nothing more than just offering up something for conversation, which if it's that ridiculous, it should just garner a little bit of laughter, or they shouldn't even take a second look at it. They are so threatened by the idea of something being scientifically proven that is contradictory to what they believe. It just completely destroys their egos. And I notice a lot of these guys work in aerospace, or they work in jobs that are kind of dependent on the idea of the earth being round.
Bro, $55 million a day gets sent to NASA, our tax paid money, okay? $55 million a day, which is crazy and insane. I can't even believe. Some people complain about people coming from Mexico into America, and we have to, we have to pay for some of their health care. But we're over here giving NASA $55 million a day. And what has NASA created for us? What have they done for us? They take a fake rover landed on Mars and it drives around at 2 miles an hour. And then they supposedly get all this data from what's going on Mars. Why don't you take all that $55 million and save the people on our own planet right now? There's people that are starving. There's supposedly this crazy thing going on right now. There's people that are sick. They say that there's hospitals. There's people that are like in LA right now, bro, sleeping on the corner, dude. And there's people right now that are hungry in other countries. I'm not saying to make it a socialist society or anything like that, guys. All I'm trying to say is take that $55 million and give it back to the people or whatever you could do, because we're spending money right now on absolutely nothing that's going to help us go further. All they're trying to do is prove God wrong. That's what I believe. Because if you read the Bible, literally, bro, the earth is immovable, unshakable. There's so many verses I could go over, bro. It's just crazy, bro. It's not, and there's also pillars. Okay. There's foundations. Okay. There's a firmament and there's water above the firmament. There's 3 heavens, that Paul went to, the 3rd heaven, which is where God's throne would be, right? Which is above the firmament. So if you read the Bible and you're like a Christian and you're indoctrinated by NASA, you're going to think that the stuff that I'm saying is crazy, but you can literally read the first Genesis 1 through verse 19, and you could already see that what the scientists are saying and what the Bible is saying is 2 different things. So what I do is I filter science through the Bible, and if it does not match with the Bible, then I just don't pay attention to it. So what people like to do is filter the Bible through science, and then they will compromise. The earth is 13.8 billion years old. God did start it with the Big Bang. That they start compromising with these scientists that we're not there. It's all theories, and they teach it as if it's fact. And that is definitely an issue, bro. I don't like. They teach everything as if it's fact, but it's actually a Big Bang theory. It's a theory of evolution. And in my case, I think it's a globe theory. You know what I mean? That Copernicus came out with, and the Jesuits just ran with it and just kept it going. And dude, it's literally, in my opinion, is almost trying to prove God wrong, dude, or prove the Bible wrong. And that's what Satan loves to do, right?
Absolutely. In fact, I always like the analogy that's drawn between the word Baal and Baal, like Baal Earth, Baal Earth, because we know that these Satan worshipers, Satan also goes by Baal, or perhaps one of his demons does, however that works out. So I really, that really strikes a chord with me, because you see a lot of weird stuff centered around this name Baal. If you really get into studying the Bible,
like the New Year's, the ball drops, there's a whole bunch of stuff you could go off of the ball. And New Year's is another thing that you kind of see where it's like that. But dude, also, bro, it says in the Bible that the moon is a light that rules the day, and the sun is a light that rules the night. And also in Joshua, it says that God had the sun stood still and the moon stayed until the people were avenged. So you see in the Bible, it's talking about 2 separate lights. So the sun is one light and the moon is one light. It's not saying that the sun is reflecting off of the moon. You know what I mean? And if you actually start doing your homework, you could see that the moon's light is actually colder in the shade than the actual moonlight. So if you actually magnifying glass the moon, you're going to get a colder feeling sensation than if you did it with the sun. You get the opposite. So that's kind of interesting. So that kind of goes along. That's a little science experiment you could do that goes along with what the Bible is saying. Also, Operation Fishbowl. Have you ever heard of this, bro?
Yeah, that is some weird stuff.
Weird stuff. Operation Fishbowl. The original name was Operation Dominique Charma, which means belonging to God, and then Charma means fixed shell. So Operation Fishbowl, if you think about it, there's a fishbowl, which is like a firmament, and then there's land, right? That's what a fishbowl looks like. And then there's a hole in the top of the fishbowl. So they took high altitude nuclear missiles in 1962, and they actually shot it up at the firmament, I believe, and they said that they could see light from hemisphere to hemisphere, right? So, and they actually called these missiles Thor. So they called it Thor. So that's like they're trying to take Thor's hammer. So they're mocking God and trying to break the firmament. And then, as you see with Werner von Braun on his tombstone, proverb, was it Psalms 19:1, where he's talking about, you know, God's firmament in his handiwork, right? You kind of see this and go, whoa, okay. You know what I mean? Like, this is during this, when he passed away, it was kind of during this, close to this time when this happened. So I don't believe that they were able to get to the moon, you know? I don't believe it. Just
Yeah,
me.
and something occurred to me when you were talking about the Thor missiles is Thor is a storm god, and guess who else is a storm god? Yep, it's Baal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see? And that's true. Yeah, I've heard that before. So I'm surprised they didn't call it that, you know?
Um, you know what you're saying about the moon, especially makes me kind of bat an eyebrow because the moon is so fascinating, and the idea that it's actually giving off energy is also fascinating because I know for a fact that witches, Wiccans, druids, people that are into the occult are just obsessed with the moon. In fact, one of their major rituals is called drawing down the moon, where they actually I believe they create some kind of portal with the moon. I'd have to read more about that, but you know, it's some complicated stuff. But it really
Yeah.
makes you wonder if they're tapping into some occult science about the moon that we just don't understand.
Yeah, dude, like there is, and there's a lot of like witches that dance in the moonlight, you know, and there's a whole bunch of, yeah, you're right, dude. And then Saturn. Look what Warner von Braun called the his what is it? Was it his, I'm sorry, I don't know if it was his rocket or if it's a satellite. I think it was called like the Saturn V or something, right? Look into the old secret societies in Germany, you know, Operation Paperclip. Obviously, that's where he came from, Germany, right? You look into it, it's called the Brotherhood of Saturnalia. So they were worshiping Saturn, right? So that's the type of secret society that was there at the time. There's also the Black Sun Society, but the Brotherhood of Saturnalia, you look into that. Was Werner von Braun maybe part of that? And that's why he kind of, and they're worshiping Saturn, right? So maybe he took that, made the Saturn V, made all this, and this is the biggest deception you probably think of, dude. Like if you broke it down on it and everything was 100 legit deception. Think about theologians. There's actually God talks about he will send something that will even deceive the elect. Okay, so it's a great deception. Some people feel like it's Project Bluebeam and other things like that. Think about it though, dude. If you read Genesis and you start reading the Bible, bro, you're gonna find stuff that tells you, that goes against what these scientists are saying. So maybe this is the great deception, the ball Earth. I don't know. I'm just saying. I just kind of. I'm not saying it is 100%, but it's something that you say it in a bar, you're gonna get punched in the mouth, or you're gonna be fighting with people. You know what I mean? It's really like life or death. Sometimes people like they get so mad about you saying that the Earth is flat. I'm not saying that the Earth is flat myself. All I'm saying is the Bible does not match up with us. You know what the scientists are saying, and what I'm saying is um the moon and the sun moving and all this stuff. If you start studying that, it's like, dude, dude, 66,600 miles an hour around the sun, bro. It sounds crazy. Even these ball sphere people, I tell them that and they go, oh, 66,600 miles an hour, is that how fast that we're moving? I'm like, yeah, that's what they say we are moving, all because of the Big Bang. You know, it all has to go together. There's like a unholy trinity, scientific trinity, like the Big Bang, evolution, and the globe, right?
Yeah, in fact, one of my favorite flat Earth arguments or arguments to deny the typical model of space is the idea of a stellar parallax, which just means that if I was to look at the stars over a long period of time, it doesn't seem that the stars are changing in distance to each other. Whereas,
Mm,
like you were saying, if we were all flying through space with the moon, or I'm sorry, the Earth spinning around the sun, and
yeah,
then the moon spinning around the Earth. Sorry if I'm
yeah.
missing some of your comments, guys. It's coming in too fast for me. Um,
Me too. I'm trying to read them.
but so we're spinning, the moon spinning around the Earth spinning around the sun, and then we're also all spinning around the galactic core. And if that were really happening, that would be crazy from our viewpoint. We would see so many stars and so much crap flying around. Not to mention we'd be getting hit with meteors. They're slapping
Bro.
Yeah.
How scary is it, dude, if you're going 66,600 miles an hour and then there's a meteor the size of a football field? We're going to slam it, dude. It's going to hit us so hard, dude, that it's going to be insane. We wouldn't even understand it. But also, we're going 550,000 miles an hour, 500,000 miles an hour, like you said, through space. And our whole galaxy is moving 1,000,000 miles an hour, 1.3 million miles an hour. And we see the same exact stars. So all they do is come up with these crazy numbers. They take God and they put him as far away as possible in another dimension, nowhere. But dude, if you read Isaiah, he says that the earth is his footstool and he looks upon us like grasshoppers. Okay. And he says a circle, but Isaiah also says ball in another verse. So Isaiah obviously knew the difference between a ball and a circle. So if you think about it, God is on the firmament watching us like grasshoppers, right? It's just stuff that really just makes you start thinking, dude. Also, when Jesus was baptized, where did the voice come from? It came up from heaven, right? He was baptized. He said, "This is my son. I'm well pleased." So that came from where? Up. It didn't come from right, left. It says up. And like I said, Jesus, when he ascended up to heaven. Paul says that when he went to heaven, the third heaven, he went up to heaven. Paul never said, I walked through a portal, went to another dimension, saw this crystal glass firmament in another dimension, and that's heaven. It's not saying that. Even Ezekiel, bro, if you look into Ezekiel, he's talking about the firmament, dude, being like a glass, sapphire or green. I'm sorry, I have to look up the verse. Guys, forgive me if it's the appearance of sapphire, and that's where God's throne is. Okay, guys. So there's a lot of stuff, bro, that you have to look into as a Christian, or just look into it, period, and find out, like, wow, if you're a flat earther or not. I mean, whatever. If you don't feel like looking this up, it's okay. But if you are a flat earther and you start reading the Bible and finding out, like, wow, this kind of lines up with what I'm actually believing at this moment. So the Bible lines up, right? Biblical cosmology. Then you could start from there, obviously, maybe starting getting a little closer or getting a relationship with God in that way. It does take some atheists that were globers turn into flat earthers, and they start reading the Bible and going, wow, the Bible explains it exactly like how we feel the earth is. So it could be a good thing, but it could be a bad thing too. It could be a
Yeah,
bad thing.
with me, I was kind of like, I was kind of like how you probably were before you, became a Christian, where I just saw the Bible as, people at school would tell me, oh, that's all about control. And, the Catholic Church wrote the Bible, and there's horrible things in the Bible. God does horrible things. But, when I actually sat down and read the Bible's incredible. First of all,
Yes.
there's a reason why there's an entire research field about the Bible. It's
Yes.
because not only does it coincide with history in a synchronistic manner, but it's also a code. It's got an underlying code to it. The Bible's
Yeah.
fascinating.
It is fascinating, dude. It's absolutely fascinating. And once you start getting deeper, like, I've had people on my show that just, I mean, I can't even keep up with them. I'm not like a Bible scholar. I read the Bible. I'm a Christian rapper. I love the Lord. I try to do my best to keep up with some of these guys, but I've had people come on the show and they're like taking the Bible to another level. And I'm like, wow, I don't even know if I'm ready for this yet. Like, wow, it's interesting. But the I think it's really like, as a Christian or somebody that's religious or whatever, the whole Catholic Church thing, bro. I've studied them like crazy. There's a huge deception with that. But if you look into the doctrine of true Christianity, or what Christ really wants you to do, and then you look into the doctrine of what they're doing, I'm not saying every Catholic person is not saved or not going to heaven. Don't get me wrong, but the actual mother son worship and worshiping Mary and praying to Mary and doing all this stuff and saying that she's the queen of heaven, that is all Nimrod, Semiramis, and all that old stuff brought into, that pagan worship brought into the Christian church. And what they did is they mixed it together, and there's a lot of idol worship and stuff. Like, if you take someone's cross that has Jesus on it from them, they're almost like a Smeagol, my precious, you know what I mean? Like, they have, it's so hard to break people from idol worship. I'm not judging any Catholics. I'm not. I'm just telling you that if you study the Bible thoroughly and you find out what God is truly wants you to be, you know, relationship with him, idol worship out the window. You don't need to pray to any father or ask them for sins. You just pray directly to Jesus and Jesus to God, right? So it's basically like in the name of Jesus. You don't need to pray to Mary, to pray to saints, to pray because Jesus is the bridge. He died on the cross for our sins, and he said he's the bridge between us and God. You don't need to have anybody else, a Mary or some saints. And if you're Catholic, I'm not trying to judge you, but read the Holy Bible and find out if it's truly says to do that. It doesn't.
Josh, that brings up a good question. How do you feel about going to church every Sunday? Is it necessary? Should we be going to church? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? How do you feel about the concept of going to Sunday Mass or going to church once a week?
I believe that for me, it's like accountability, you know, like it's, and you get your kids involved. I work like, you know, 40, 50 hours a week. I'm doing a podcast. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm trying to get my kids involved with God as much as I can, but I believe that it's great for accountability. It's harder when you're in a big church, like the church that I go to. It's a Calvary Chapel, but it's a smaller church. So I think it's great for accountability. I think it's good to get into like a men's Bible study because they know all the stuff we're dealing with in this world, you know, like a lot of men, you know, that are older, more wise. I think it is great. I think it's a great thing. And now some people believe that you don't have to go to church and you can have a relationship with God, which is true. The Bible never says that you have to go to church to go to heaven. You're saved by grace through faith, not by works, because grace is a gift from God, so that no man shall boast, right? That's what Paul says in Ephesians. So you just literally have to, I think it's great for me because I don't like to be indoctrinated by certain things, though. I could tell because I've studied conspiracies and I've studied the Bible. So I know when a pastor is indoctrinating me with something that he was probably taught in seminary school from a Jesuit or taught from you know, like they have a Christmas tree that's all pagan stuff, dude. Like you have a Christmas tree and you're trying to say Jesus's birthday is the 25th of December. That's not true. So when I see stuff like that, I just don't go to service for those services because I'm not trying to hear any of this indoctrination about Jesus's birthday is the 25th and all that. It's not, you know. So, you know, I think it's good to go to church though. It just depends on what you feel, what your relationship is with God, and you know, what you want to, you know, what kind of, how far you want to go with this faith. I think the whole point of living, bro, is having obedience, but you know, of God's word, because it's the hardest thing to do because we have all these fleshly desires. And I think that it's also to end up going to heaven. That's your whole reason why you're here. Spread the gospel, try to get as many people saved as you can, right? And then try to have the best relationship with God as you can, and try to have joy. Don't let anybody kill your joy. The devil is a lion. He is a thief. He's trying to steal your joy. He's trying to give you depression. He's trying to give you anxiety. He's trying to make it so you don't go to church. He's trying to have you question the Bible. He's trying to have you fight with people about flat earth and globe earth and all this stuff. He wants you to fight. He wants you to keep you all mind controlled, as we know, instead of you actually sitting down and having a relationship with God. When do you have time to do it? It's so hard sometimes, you know?
Yeah, and you brought up another good point that kind of strikes the chord with me. Like nowadays, the way that the media is, the way that all the TV shows and movies are, the way that we're taught in school, it's like if you're a guy, especially if you're, you know, not that it's really race based, but if you're a white male, you're the bad guy, you're the problem in the world, you're part of the force that's oppressing everybody. You shouldn't be proud of being a man, you shouldn't be proud of being a guy. But I think in church you can actually talk to other males about things that normally wouldn't be really welcome in other circles. I think that there's something to be said for being around people that you can actually talk to that aren't gonna, you know, shoot you down for having faith or call you stupid or give you the
Yeah.
typical sort of black pilled response towards God and the Bible. And by black pilled, I mean the nihilistic, absurdist view of the universe where, you know, we do believe we're all just spinning through space on a ball and everything's meaningless. and there's
Yeah,
no
that
reason
sucks.
for anything. I think that if you're a guy, you just don't. Nobody has your back nowadays. Nobody. You don't get that support like you do if, and it just about every TV show, like the new He-Man series is probably the perfect example. But in that new He-Man cartoon, He-Man is the biggest wuss that I've ever seen. He barely takes part in the whole thing. It's all about the female characters. Like us guys need to have some kind of outlet somewhere. Maybe church is a place to do that.
For sure, because there's just agendas that are getting passed down to break up the home. That's what it's all about. Like Satan wants to divide, he wants to conquer, he wants to break up the home, he wants to have you divorce your wife, he wants your kids to have be a divorced parents. Or I'm sorry, kids with the divorced parents. He wants to break up the home. So what does he do? He puts little thoughts in your head that say that you're not the spiritual leader. You're nothing. You don't run this home. The wife does, and then the wife never submits. And then if it's not a true biblical marriage, even if it's two Christians they don't have the same belief, they're not equally yoked. So the devil wants to find little niches in anything he can find to just break it up. And then like when you marry a woman, you're like two pieces of plywood put together. But when you tear that thing apart, they're split into pieces. You can never put it back together the same. So the devil wants to split you up so bad, and he wants to make you feminine. He wants to make it so that you think that you're gay, or think that you were born gay or transgender, whatever. But if you it's there's a lot of stuff. I can't get too deep into that, dude, with with the stuff they're putting in certain foods, or there's certain things that are causing this, and it's an agenda pushed down. And you're right, dude, they're trying to demasculate the man. They're trying to demasculate the black man a lot too, bro. They take these comedians, they put them in dresses.
Yeah,
They do that a lot because if you look, sometimes you feel like you're gonna feel like, hey, you know what, I'm doing this for comedy, so I'm just trying to be funny. But then like Dave Chappelle caught on to that though. They tried to do that to him. He's like, no, I'm not gonna do it. They kept coming into his trailer like 10 times saying, Dave, come on, Dave, you could do this. Just put the dress on. Come on, Dave. And then he found out right there, like, this is bigger than just me putting the dress on. You know what I mean? Like, this is way bigger. They're trying to demasculate the black man. If you think about it, dude, it was true what he said, man. I noticed it. There was a lot of people that were put into dresses and all that stuff. So it's
yeah.
interesting, man.
That's probably one of the biggest ones is, beyond even the thing with the dresses. I mean, I'm not a black person, of course, but I can see it. I can see how if you are black and you want to be famous or get into Hollywood, they make you do things that are feminine. They make you wear dresses, and they kind of, this falls back into what we were talking about, how rap music is satanic. I mean, it's like they only let you say negative things because on some level they want everybody to watch the TV and think that black people are the bad guys. That's what it kind of seems like to me.
Yeah, I think they want to make it so that when you see somebody you don't even know, you are judging them before and that's something in the Bible that's definitely looked down upon. It's hard because you see somebody, like, let's say somebody comes into let's say somebody is a bum off the street, and then he goes into a AM/PM with no mask on. People are going to look at that person differently and judge that person for not wearing the mask because they think that they're more dirty, or they would have COVID more than a normal person that came in with no mask. That's just a average rich looking dude that came in with no mask. It's like, that's what happens. You immediately judge, which is bad, because I talked about it. Hebrews 13:1, you never know when you're entertaining an angel. So that person that came into that shop, or the AM/PM, could be an angel off of the streets, comes in there dirty, and then that thought that you had, or any of that judgment that you had, it's like every single thing I believe is being recorded on what thoughts you make. That's what I believe. Like, you get different paths you could go down, you could do this, you could do that, and I think it's all being recorded and it's put into the book of life. That's why they talk about in Revelation, if you take the mark of the beast, you're erased from the book of life, right? So I believe that there's a book of life that God has, and everything is being recorded. And you're going to have to, unfortunately, you're going to have to pay for what you've done. unless you get saved, and then you only get put on the it's called the judgment seat of Christ, where Jesus, obviously he's died on the cross for you, right? So he just takes all of your works, puts it in the fire, and then you have whatever gifts you have in heaven, right? But like, see, Jesus is like your defense lawyer, right? The prosecutor is going to be the devil, and then God is the judge. So Jesus, if you're saved and you're faithful servant to Jesus, and you believe that he died from the cross, rose after 3 days, his defense is gonna be easy for you. Like, he is a faithful servant of me. He believes I died on the cross, resurrected after 3 days. He's saved by grace through faith, not by works, so no man shall boast. But if you're not saved, the devil's gonna have an easy time taking a big old stack of stuff and putting it on the table, and then God's gonna judge you for all the stuff that happened, you know?
Yeah, I agree completely, and I think that's really, the main problem with the music industry and the rap industry. People that are curious about that, I recommend checking out Professor Griff, because he has a lot to say about that and how Black people are treated in Hollywood, and that sort of thing. Josh, I also wanted to ask you, since we're talking about flat Earth and the elite and things like that, what do you think of this Elon Musk character? He seems to be trying to prop himself up to be kind of like a hero to all of us, but there seems to be something also very nefarious about him, especially with this Starlink stuff. He's actually launching, I believe, thousands and thousands of satellites into our atmosphere so that we could have internet. I thought we already had internet. I already have 5G on my phone. I got the cable. I don't understand how him launching satellites is going to bring me internet. It just doesn't make any sense. Is this internet for people in Antarctica, or what's going on there? He seems to tie into this whole sort of ball illusion that's being cast on mankind, or humankind, I should say. Any thoughts on that, Josh?
Elon Musk, if you do research on him, he has a weird past where it's like it's hard to track him. So Elon Musk kind of came on the scene. He did the PayPal thing. Remember when he had his hair, like he actually had hair, and then I guess he lost it, and then he gained it back. I believe that he was on Joe Rogan talking about AI is going to be the end of humanity and that it's a bad thing. And then all of a sudden you see that he creates AI, and he also, the Neuralink transmitter, he's trying to, in my mind, this is the way I look at it, he's trying to mock God. He's trying to take this thing, put it in your skull, which you can think of the mark of the beast as the skull, and he's trying to heal the deaf, trying to heal the sick, and trying to heal the paralyzed through technology, right? So I think that he is like a sheep in wolf's clothing. And I don't believe that he's every single time he's talking that he's just lying. But when somebody has $250 billion, you kind of have to look into him and see that he is, if you read the Bible, it says, if you're first on earth, you're going to be last in heaven. So he's that type of person, and he's not even part of these elite families. I don't believe. I haven't been able to link him to that, but there's obviously way richer families and dynasties and stuff that we don't know about, and that we could name on here. But I don't know, man. I think that he is trying to create transhumanism. I think that he's trying to create the Neuralink, which is that's like a channel for demons to come into your mind, because it's actually hooked up to your mind. So I believe that there's that. Transhumanism is also something they're trying to push. That's another thing, a way that the devil can have another army. If everybody was just the Colonna family, yep. The Colonna family, Pepe Orsini, there's a whole bunch of people. Sorry, I saw a comment come up. But yeah, dude. So I think that's another way that the devil could try to make a different army. It would be like transhumanism. And if you want to get real deep into a rabbit hole, you can look into graphene and all the stuff that they're trying to do with that, and how it moves with the beat, and how they can maybe be able to put a demon into that, and then they could put that into your system. I don't know, man. That's probably just digging a little too far, but what do you think about him, bro?
I feel the exact same way. I think if there's really anybody that, and I don't really believe this, but I think if there's anybody that we can make a really great case for being the Antichrist, it would have to be him, because he has, like I was saying, he's starting to become like a hero the people. In fact, they're starting to kind of put him in the direction at, almost as if he's opposed to the elite, even though I know that that's not the truth. I know he, like you were saying, he comes from those same sort of lines. And
Yeah.
the thing with the Neuralink, especially because the Antichrist is supposed to be involved with the mark of the beast, which is a mark on the forehead or the wrist, and
Yeah.
that
On the
makes
right
perfect.
hand.
Yeah, so the
The
one in the
right hand could
forehead
be
is
your arm.
not
The
true.
right hand could be your arm as well. That's something that if you look in the Hebrew, it's like it doesn't like I always thought of it right hand or forehead, 666 on those. But if you look into the Hebrew, right hand actually can go all the way up to the shoulder. So you never know. We got this thing going around. I mean, who knows? That could be part of it. I think that it's all precursor. I think they're gonna have every single name, address, phone number of every single person that didn't bow down and take this thing that's going around, the potion. And they're going to have all this information on you. They're going to find out if you have guns. They're going to find out every text that you've made, every single comment that you've made. They got quantum computers that know exactly what you're doing at every single moment, dude. It gets really deep. I had Sophia Smallstorm on my show one time, and she was digging some crazy stuff about the tech world. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I never even thought of that's happening on a day-to-day basis. And they're just doing an experiment on the public at all times. Look at the insurrection. Look at Donald Trump. That was one of the biggest experiments. Look at the election fraud that had people's mind so wrapped around it. I even made a song about it because I got wrapped into it. And then I was like, I need to back out and get out of this. I got to stop because I'm not worshiping God. I'm worshiping the stupid election fraud. So it's like an experiment on the public. What they do is they post something and then they see what your reaction is. Every single comment that you make, every like that you do, they could see you doing whatever you're doing on your phone. They could see you. There's a thing in Utah. It's like a huge quantum computer. It's military complex where they're actually knowing every incoming text, every single comment, everything on Facebook, everything's being recorded. There's pictures of your kids. There's pictures of your face. There's all this different stuff. They know exactly facial recognition. I mean, there's stuff, dude, that's getting really crazy, dude. It's like the end times, I believe, are definitely here, bro. They're definitely here. It's just a matter of what is going to happen. Is it going to be like a rapture of the church and then the 7-year tribulation? That's one view. There's also like a mid view where you're raptured mid, or there's also one where you're raptured after. There's also another view. It's a non-dispensationalist view that the 70th week of Daniel already happened. And then the time that we get brought up to heaven is when the second coming of Christ happens. I just found this out from one of my guests. So there's different views of what the end times are going to be, different way that people are reading into the prophecies. I just say make sure that you don't just stick with one and believe it 100%. You need to study all of it, because I didn't even know about a non-dispensational view of there not being a 7-year tribulation for some people. I thought the 7-year tribulation, the Antichrist, the rapture, all that stuff was just doctrine, and that's only doctrine. But there's not. There's a whole bunch of other ways to perceive prophecy, and I was stuck on the dispensationalist view of next would be the rapture, and then the Antichrist and the false prophet is going to start, building the third temple. Right? They build the third temple. They have Jews over in Israel having the third temple built. They start sacrificing animals again. He puts a stop to it after 3.5 years. That's going to be his peace that he had with Israel, right? And then all of a sudden he's going to have them bow down to him and worship him, brings in the mark of the beast. This is all the stuff that I thought. But then you go to with the non-dispensationalist view where it's not like that. Most of the stuff that you're reading in Revelation is more spiritual than actual wars. It's more like Magog and Gog is like a spiritual war. It's like Armageddon is a spiritual war that we're going through right now. Some people believe that the devil has already been locked up for 1,000 years, and now he is unleashed and tempting the world, which, I mean, that makes sense too to me. So there's a few different views that you guys should all study with Revelation and end times. And I'd suggest that you don't just stick with one view and just go like, hey, this is the only view, because there's other views out there of people deciphering prophecy, the book of Daniel, Revelation, Isaiah, Ezekiel, all this stuff,
Yeah, that's the thing about the Bible is, like, people will say, "Oh, Revelations isn't part of the original Bible, or the New Testament isn't it doesn't have anything to do with the Old Testament, but actually there are things in the Old Testament that relate to the New Testament, as well as things in both the Old Testament and New Testament that relate to Revelation. So it
Yeah.
really does all connect. And I've had the same experience as you, Josh. The more I study, the more I research, the more vast it becomes, and the more I realize, boy, do I really know what I'm looking at here? There's so many different possibilities. And some of these guys, like on YouTube, like one of my favorites is Dr. Gene Kim, who does
Yeah.
a lot of,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, you know
He
about
does a
him?
good, yeah, dude. Dr.
Yeah.
Gene Kim does a good, he does a good Hollow Earth podcast. He did a really good sermon. He gets really deep and in depth in the different stuff. He had a good gap theory sermon I listened to. I like Chuck Missler. I like Gene Kim. I like, Pastor Chuck Smith. I like the Calvary Chapel stuff. But like I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
now I'm starting to get pulled into like, I need to look at, avenues, different avenues of how scripture is processed as far as prophecy, because it's not all about like what the seminary school is teaching you, because there's a lot of Jesuit doctrine that comes out of the seminary school, and they will not veer away from it. And they will also not veer away from the flat earth. They stay with the globe, the universe, huge, vast, God is in another dimension type of deal. But it's just, you got to pray for God to, clear up any thoughts like that, because the devil will try to get to you as much as possible.
And I have to wonder if we are meant to actually decipher and figure this stuff out at a certain time, because I almost feel like my understanding of the Bible, especially Revelations, is kind of coinciding with things as they happen, almost as if it's necessary for us to learn things at the right
Yeah.
time when the veil is actually lifting, if that
Yeah.
makes
Yes, Jennifer, you have a great point. That is definitely the Sethite view of Genesis 6 is definitely a seminary school teaching that they don't want to go into the whole, angels had sex with humans, created giants or Nephilim. They don't want to go into that and try to explain that, because for some people that's fairy tale, or science will like the Smithsonian has hidden a lot of stuff from us. So you don't see giants yet, so they go with the Sethite Cain view, where they say that Seth's people had sex with Cain's, and they intermingled. But that whole thing wasn't even an issue until Isaac and I can't remember. It's Isaac and I think it's Isaac and Ishmael or something. That it didn't happen until then. So it's the Sethite view is it's interesting, but it's a little crazier when you think about angels having sex with humans and creating Nephilim, or DNA changing. It's when you start studying that, you're like, whoa, this is a whole different. This could be a whole doctrine alone, on that.
Yeah, I think I know what you're getting at. You mean like we can look at it where the Nephilim came down and bred with humans, or we can look at it like this goes all the way back to Cain. I think
No, no,
that's kind of the idea.
no. That the idea is that the seminary schools teach that Sethites intermingled with Canaanites, and those two intermingled, and that was what they explain is the intermingling of having Nephilim. But if you read into it and you look into it, it doesn't take long for you to realize that could be demolished, because it's the son of I'd have to look at the verse, dude, but son of gods are not Sethites, or those are actually angels. So you see angels, fallen angels, coming down, having sex with humans, and having Nephilim. It's just some stuff that people don't, as pastors, they get taught this certain way. So when they're on the pulpit, they're talking about the firmament. They say like atmosphere, or they'll say like a different word for it, expanse or sky, instead of saying firmament, because firmament brings up people to think that, and they're trying to keep their audience, so when a pastor starts saying firmament, people start asking questions. What's the firmament? And most pastors, dude, if you ask them, they're going to be like, you need to ask somebody that's into apologetics, because I don't know what the firmament is, because they have that globe indoctrination in their mind, and the seminary school doesn't teach them about the firmament, So that's just an example of it.
Yeah, there's also another one. There's people that think that the Egyptian Set was Seth as well. So
Mm,
there's a lot of different takes, and there's so many of them. We have to look at the Bible once again and think about what it says about doctrines of devils. There's a lot of
yeah.
lies and
Yes.
deceptions floating, especially about the Bible, because you know we get back to the ball thing again and the ball earth and the Catholic Church. We don't know where the edits are. I don't think that there's that many edits, because if they tried to edit it too much, the Bible wouldn't make that, it wouldn't make sense. The Old Testament wouldn't leak to the New Testament and to Revelation. So we know that there's a limit to what they could have possibly done to it. So that's why, I believe in the Bible. I might not be what's called like a Bible thumper. I don't like to
Yeah.
get on other people for not being religious or being Christian, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't like when people get on me like that either, but I do
No.
believe the Bible is historical truth. And if we actually look through the genealogical records, we look through history, it looks to me like everybody came from Noah's Ark. I mean, we were talking about, when I was on your show, we were
Yeah.
talking about the sons of Noah. And I was a little bit confused about that at the time, because it is confusing. But since then, I've been researching it even more and more. And from what I can tell, we really all came from Noah's Ark. I think it's kind of exciting, personally.
For sure. And Jennifer's talking about the book of Enoch. Yeah, so they took some of the books out of the book of Jubilee, the book of Enoch. There's also Enoch 1 and Enoch 2, which I don't believe should be canon, but if you look at the book of Enoch, it's a hard thing for pastors to explain that dude. It's like you read the book of Enoch, you're like, whoa, this is like a whole different outlook of a scary world that we live in. That's a spiritual battle, bro. Paul talks about it. It's like everything. It's not a battle against flesh and blood, but against principalities of evil. It's a spiritual battle. Every single move that you make, anything that you do, it's a spiritual battle. Literally, bro. It's like you can be tempted all the time, and the devil loves to tempt you when you're alone. So when you're alone and your wife's not around, your kids are not around, you start getting tempted. It goes into your imagination. You start thinking about it. The book of Joshua too. Yeah, Jennifer. So yeah. Anyways, it's interesting, dude. It's very interesting. Yeah, Book of Thomas. There's also like a Gnostic book of can't even think of it right now. He's the one that Judas. Sorry, there's a book of Judas. So there's like, and if you look in the book of Enoch, it came over here from a Freemason. He brought the book of Enoch over here from Somalia, but it's canon in Somalia and in some countries. Here, they took it out of canon. So it's just, you just got to study it and find it out.
What do you think about that, Josh? Like, a lot of serious Christians, they say Gnosticism, Satanism, don't go near that stuff. It's evil, it's bad. How do you feel about Gnosticism?
I feel that if you look into secret societies, the Freemasons, what is it? It's all about it's like Gnostic, dude. It's all about it. It's like basically taking Lucifer, the angel of light, and making him wanting to give you knowledge and wanting him to, God, the God of this world, the God of the Bible is trying to take away you from getting the knowledge, So I think the Gnostics believe more that Satan is the good guy. He's the good God. And in this realm, God of the Bible is the bad one that doesn't want you to have knowledge, doesn't want you to have freedom. So that's more looking into like Aleister Crowley stuff and Gnostic. I'm not going to go against anybody that's Gnostic. I mean, you could believe what you want to believe. I was in the military. I fought for freedom. I fought for people's right to not. If you don't believe in the national anthem, or you don't want to stand up, or whatever you want to do, I fought for freedom. So I believe that if you want your religion to be Gnostic or whatever you want to do, I just pray that you end up coming to God and finding out the truth. I think it's a deception, in my opinion, the Gnostic religion. But who am I? I'm just a Christian rapper, Army veteran, trying to take care of my kids, and a podcast host, bro, of a truther. Trying to give you the real truth, the one that's on your nightstand, the Holy Bible.
Do you have a version of the Bible that you prefer?
I read the King James version, but I'll also dig into like NIV or other texts to try to understand it. Because, like I said, I'm not a Bible scholar, and sometimes when I read the King James version, I have to it's like if you read the NIV, sometimes they do change some stuff like that I don't like. So it's like I think the King James version, in my opinion, is what I stick to. I'm not saying the King James version is 1,000,000% the best book that you can read as far as the Bible. I think that for me, I like the King James version. That's what I stick with. And sometimes I read other to try to understand what the Bible is saying, and sometimes I'll actually go back and have a pastor explain it to me, or commentary, or, because sometimes I don't get it. I'm not like a genius Bible scholar. Sometimes I don't get it. So you just have to watch out for some of the, because if you change firmament to sky, that's a big difference. Firmament is firm. It's hard. It's like a dome, right? So that's a big change, and that's just one word. So when you're reading the Bible and you're going through, if you start reading the NIV only, there's going to be certain words that they change to be more relative to what's happening nowadays, instead of back then, which I like the original text, so that's why I like the King James.
Yeah, me too. I've looked into it a little bit, and it seems like the King James is really a great representation and probably the best one that's out there. I know that there's some excellent arguments against that out there, but Josh, we've been talking a little bit about end times. We've been talking about revelations, what's going on in the world. I suppose my question would be: are you a prepper? Do you have a bunker? Well, you probably wouldn't want to tell us that, but are you actively preparing for there not being any groceries on the shelves and having the power cut off, that sort of thing?
Yeah, like I have stuff saved up. I got weapons, I got stuff like that, my military background. I have like 30 days, food for my kids, stuff like that, I don't have a bunker. God also says that, like, the birds, they eat, right? So, and they don't have to sit there and store all this stuff and have a big uh shelf full of food. They end up eating. So if you read the Bible and you depend on God, you should be able to eat. But then I've been watching the seasons of Alone. I don't know if you ever seen that show, but it's
What's
like
what's that on? How do I get that?
you could watch it on the History Channel, I believe, or you could watch it on like Amazon. It's called Alone. It's like where people go out and they're trying to live off of the land for, and they're actually absolutely alone all the way. They fish, but dude, they don't catch fish every day. They have to forage. So it's going to be tough, dude, if the mark of the beast happens and you're living during that time. I think that Jesus is not because he's we're like his bride, right? I don't believe that he's going to be domestic violence and put us through the whole tribulation and all the craziness. I think he's going to, I hope in Jesus' name that we get raptured. If not, we're going to have some tough times. My wife is pregnant right now. So if the end times happen
Oh,
tomorrow, I
congratulations.
would probably have, oh, thank you, bro. Thank you. I'd probably have one of the toughest times trying to take care of my two daughters plus another daughter on the way. It even says that in the Bible, like that Jesus feels for the women that are pregnant or the kids during the time that all this tribulation, everything happens. It's gonna be tough, man.
Yeah, what I'm hoping is, I don't doubt that this is end times or the tribulation or the beginning of it. What I'm hoping is, like, we're right at the beginning of it, and we're gonna have a little back and forth before things really get crazy. But the problem with that is things seem to be happening so fast. I
Yeah,
constantly think to myself, it wasn't supposed to happen this fast. I had this inkling it happened in my lifetime, but I didn't think that the whole world would change after 2020. I thought it
yeah.
would take like 50 years for everything to roll out, but from what I can tell, it's happening like at least 10 times faster. What do you think about that idea?
I think that the people are are letting it just go by like that, So they just keep on taking freedom after freedom after freedom after freedom, and we're just like masked up, doing all the stuff, bowing down, closing our churches. The pastors are up there only doing YouTube, scared that they're going to get arrested. It's like the devil right now in the New World Order and the Illuminati and these secret societies. All they're doing right now is they put the chessboard out in 2019. They had Event 201, and then they basically just rolled everything forward, and they just basically they're moving fast pace. So the birth pains are getting closer together, but right now is nothing compared to what you read in when you study Revelation. It's like this is kind of like this is like it's a pandemic. Yeah, I mean, people. It's not like what the plagues that you read about, or the locusts eating all the crops. Nothing. Everyone's starving. The mark of the beast. You can't buy anything. You can't buy, sell, trade, or work without it. I mean, it's getting like that now. Which you can kind of see with the mandates and stuff. So it's just like precursors to the mark of the beast. So that's what I believe. Precursor to Revelation. We're kind of just dealing with it right now, but that's why it's even more. I encourage more people to read the Bible and get right with God, because it doesn't matter if you die during these times or whatever. You die and you're saved and you go to heaven. That's what you live for. It doesn't matter. It's not about like trying to be the baddest prepper in the world and surviving, and then at the end God's going to be like, you were a warrior for me, and I want you to come to heaven now. It's not about that. Everything we do is just filthy rags. It's really about starting a relationship with God, trusting God, and learning faith, his grace, and all that stuff, and study Jesus. So exactly, like Peter, when he was walking on water, he kept his eye on Jesus and he was walking on water, and then he looked away, boom, he falls in the water. That's what we do all the time, because we keep our eye on Jesus for like, maybe a couple days after church, and then boom, we just fall, so it's times are getting tough, man. I agree with you.
What do you think about the idea of Christians themselves being persecuted in the future, like rounded up, put into camps and stuff like that? Do you think that's something we should be thinking about?
I think that we should be thinking about this. A lot of people are worried about the guns being taken, which I'm also one of them, because I'm like, dang, I don't want the guns to be taken. But what we really need to worry about is the Bible's being taken, because we're not even studying the Bible enough. If you go to China, there's churches that are underground that are reading the Bible. They only have a few Bibles that they pass around. It's like gold for them. Us, we have the Bible in every hotel room. We have the Bible on our whatever. We have a couple Bibles in our house if you have it, and we don't even appreciate the fact that we can read it right now. But if it gets taken away from us, the Bible taken away from every single person, you don't have anything memorized. You never got a relationship with God. You're just kind of going off of man's way of thinking of how to relationship to God instead of actually reading it. That's when we need to really worry, dude, is when the Bible gets taken and we lose our relationship with God fully. That's when you should really be worried. And I think it's not like it's going to happen in the next week or something, but I believe it could happen, because it happened in other countries. They take it away like no problem, and you have to actually be fighting just to be serving God, and underground churches. And if you're a pastor there, you can get killed, murked, just for teaching the word of God. That's when it's like you die for Jesus for real. You're persecuted, you're dying for Jesus. That's when you know that you served Jesus and God right.
Yeah, and I love that word "murked," because that's exactly what will happen to you if you take a Bible and you go and stand in the corner of Seattle and start preaching to people.
Yeah.
People become very godless, and they'll straight up attack you if they see you holding a Bible. They'll say you're the hateful one, even though you're preaching nothing but love and preaching nothing but the absolute and talking about God. They'll treat you like the enemy, and they'll treat you like you're Satan. That's
Yeah.
literally what's going on. And then they think the devil's cool. The devil's all part of rock music, part of the gothic scene. You see him show up in music videos. Oh yeah, Satan's cool, blah blah blah. That attitude just permeates our society deeper than ever. I heard that Satanism and Wicca are the most popular growing religions right now. Any thoughts on that, Josh?
Yeah, it's the thing is, back in the day when we came out with our constitution, we came out with freedom of religion. So when they did that, it wasn't for the Christians to worship in the churches. Okay, it does help us with this mandates and them trying to lock the churches down. But what it truly was is for these secret societies like Freemasons and all these Satanists and everybody to be able to worship as well. If you think about it, freedom of religion is not about like, oh, all the Christians, you guys can all, worship in your churches and you're going to be all good. That was already happening back then. Okay. That what the Protestants were already doing that, but that actually was created, I believe, was so that they can have their Freemason churches, the Jesuit order, all these different sections like the Satanic Church. And as you see, you're going to see like just recently, like elementary school, they had a Bible study happening after school. And then they also have the Church of Satan having its own Bible study. So now you're seeing that happening in life right now. We're at elementary school. You have a Satanic church being able to come there and teach people about, whatever they teach. I don't know what they teach, who knows, but, and then they have so they're using the freedom of religion for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And you were talking a lot about some of this devilish stuff, but I hadn't asked you yet. Have you had supernatural experiences with hauntings or demons or possessed people or maybe seeing UFOs? Have you had any sort of paranormal supernatural experiences, Josh?
No, not really. I mean, I've probably seen like aircraft that's going faster than normal. I've seen stuff like that, but I've never had any demon or now I did experiment with some drugs, like where I would probably see shadow people, like if I was up for a couple of days doing coke and stuff. Yeah. I mean that's actually inviting demons in, but I've never actually had any type of supernatural thing where God spoke to me like, Josh, you need to uh join the military, or like anything like that. It's just he speaks to me in different ways through the word of God and stuff like that. I haven't had any supernatural experiences with demons or aliens or anything like that.
Yeah, I think as far as prepping or us Christians or spiritual people in general being persecuted, I think that what we're doing now is really the right way to approach it. We don't want to like all gather together and form a circle and take our guns out or do anything that's going to give them carte blanche to come in and harass us or round us up. So I think what we're doing here, just sitting around and talking about the Bible, I think that is literally the best thing that we could possibly do right now in the here and now. I mean, there might come a point where we do need some kind of underground railroad or something like that. But
Yeah.
but I think networking, social networking, podcasting is a great one. I think
Yeah.
there's so much anti-God stuff, anti-Bible, anti-spiritual stuff
Yeah.
out there that the world needs more podcasts like yours and a lot of the podcasts that are out there. We need actual truth out there instead of just everything being, little Nas X, anti-God,
Yeah.
just vile.
I agree. And it's like, that's why I try to say, like, that's why I try to take conspiracies, try to relate it to the Bible as much as I can, so that there's conspiracy theorists out there that maybe are on the, they're kind of on the edge of maybe wanting to look into God, but not knowing. So it's a good podcast for people to get into they always get the word of God. And sometimes there's people that tell me like, hey, which thank God, it's all God working. It's not me. That some people are getting saved through the podcast, or some people are reading the Bible. They're interested because there's different subjects out there that they never got taught in normal church. They always keep the same, happy go lucky. I want to get as many followers as I can in my church. God, it's all about grace and all that stuff. But there's a lot of different stuff in the Bible that you could read into that is like like I said, the flat earth thing, the hell being below us, the hollow earth, the shield, dude, there's, oh my gosh, there's so much different stuff you can look into that is different than just what you would learn in like a church service. That they stay away from a lot of it. So our podcast kind of goes into a whole different, a lot of different stuff. And also we try to keep it Jesus centered as well.
Do you feel that there's any danger to doing a podcast like yours to dig into this stuff? Do you ever fear for your life or anything like that?
Well, I don't think I don't, I mean, sometimes I might, break stuff that is that maybe someone hasn't heard, but most of the time, like we're researchers, so we're regurgitating what is been out there. So I'm not like Jordan Maxwell and I'm coming up with all this crazy stuff, where people are like, oh my God, I'm so blown away. I just try to study as much as I can and research as much as I can, reading articles, watching people, learning the Bible, and I try to come out with stuff. So I don't believe that my podcast is like I did an Epstein episode. That's kind of stuff that maybe is dangerous, but I got God, and I'm trying to do it for that. I'm trying to do it to gain more people to come to Jesus. I'm not trying to do it to expose I try to expose evil as much as I can. It's in Ephesians to expose evil. And I try to do that, so I think that it is dangerous in a way, but I don't look at it that way. I think it's great to expose evil and for us to stay on them as much as possible, like you do, like I try to do, and then try to bring God into the mix as much as possible too, so that people have an answer to the conspiracy. Because what happens is you go and you start listening to all these conspiracies, you never have an answer. All you do is just dig and dig and dig and dig. It's a huge rabbit hole, but there's no answer. So sometimes you get left like, without God. The answer is God, like that's the answer. It's like having a relationship with God, like Jesus Christ. That's the answer. That's how I believe. So I give you at least an alternative or something to go to help you through the conspiracies instead of just finding out about satanic rituals on children, and then all of a sudden, you just start digging into all that. That's all negative stuff. You never ever have anything positive. But once you realize that it's a spiritual battle and that you're fighting against spiritual entities, then you start seeing like, hey, that's what's happening with these people. They've sold their soul, or they're being led down the path because Satan is a deceiver. So you see it in a different light.
Do you have any recommendations where people might be able to go to, get some interesting information, or perhaps get some news that's not necessarily mainstream media?
I like this guy. His name. This is a call for an uprising. He's somebody I listen to on YouTube. Not for my podcast research, but he takes stories that are out there that can relate to Christian stuff, and he does a good job. He's on YouTube. His channel always gets shut down, so I know he's always close to the truth. That's somebody I listen to. As far as like news, man, I have to study the news as well as a researcher, because I have to find out what agenda they're trying to push. I don't know really a good news person to go to for you to get real truth, if that makes sense. I think
Yeah,
all these podcasts that we do, we research, we dig deep. I think that a lot of the podcasts that are out there, like they do really good research, and as long as you're not listening to like a Shield or something like that, then you know that they did some really good research on what they're doing. They're not like just a person that's on a news reading a teleprompter to us and just saying whatever agenda that Fox News wants to push, or Disney wants to push, or the devil wants to push.
yeah. Funny thing I learned just a little while ago. You were talking about the music industry and how there's like this sort of Satanism functioning as a gatekeeper, and I learned that the CEO of Columbia Records is the same as the CEO for Sony. So those two are related. And if you look at the emblem of Columbia Records, it actually literally looks like an eye, or it looks like a Saturn. And
Yeah,
it's funny because Saturn also looks like an eye as well. A lot of
yeah,
people get confused about that. Like, what does the eye mean? Is it the eye of Horus? Is it the eye of Satan? Is it the eye of the dragon? But really, this eye is just kind of like this universal symbol to kind of tell us that they're up in the sky watching every little thing that we do.
yeah.
I can't help but be horrified when I see connections like that. Then I see someone like Billie Eilish doing a music video, and she's coming down from the sky, and she's got these black wings. Now she's on fire, and she's
It's
singing about
crazy,
Lucifer
bro.
and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's crazy. And people don't even realize it. They're just like cheering, like, yeah, with their hands up. It's like worship. When you go to a concert and Jay-Z tells you, put your hands up, H to the OV, he's talking about Hova, like he's a god. And every secret society, what they try to do is they try to make you become a god. The devil wanted to become like God. He wanted to be at the highest mountain. He wanted to go up to the throne and be like God. He never said he's going to be above God, because he can't be, but he wants to be like God. So each person wants to try to be like a god. So when you were up there at a concert, you got your hands up or your lighters up or whatever, you're worshiping. If you see people in church that are worshiping God, you got your hands up when you like are feeling the moment, you're feeling the Holy Spirit. So what happens with these artists is they're doing these rituals right in front of you, and you got your hands up and you're screaming, and you're like into the moment, not even knowing that they're doing a satanic ritual right in front of you. So it's interesting, man.
Holy crap, Josh! You put your arms up. You're freaking huge, man.
Thank you, bro. I work. I told you I work out a lot, man.
Yeah, you're huge. You look like the Hulk. What kind of workout are you doing?
I
You need
just
some insights. I mean, I'm not big like that.
it's all well. Thank you for the compliment, but I work. I have a gym in my garage, bro. So I work out, 5 days a week. You
Well,
know.
good job. It's hard to keep gains like that. I mean, I know guys that work out all day. They can't get that big. People are gonna think you're on roids.
It took 6 years of working out to get like this, and I naturally had arms, though. It's not like dude. You sometimes you just, dude. People that work out, dude. You see some people that eat donuts all day and they got a six pack, dude. It's not like
I hate that
it's
shit.
a lot of it is genetics, bro. It's not about like if you work hard, obviously, like you try, but I mean, I was
I
blessed
think
with
your
arms.
attitude's got to have something to do with it.
Yeah, attitude as far as what working out or doing
Yeah,
the
exactly. Working
yeah,
out, being consistent, actually
for
doing
sure.
the work it takes to get that big.
It
Being
takes a
able.
lot.
Do you have a very dialed in diet?
I try to have like I try to have a good diet. I sometimes I like because my wife is pregnant, it's kind of hard to keep like a strict diet, but I I try to do like, egg whites, chicken, broccoli, stuff like that when I'm actually cutting. If I'm not cutting, then I just eat more of the chicken and more of the rice and sometimes I have spaghetti or, it's just really about your choices. Like how often are you eating out and what are you eating when you eat out? It's like it's really about, like I said, it's discipline, man. That's all it's about. It's all
Well,
discipline.
it's good because if these gang stalkers or Satanists or people that hate the Bible come after you, they're going to see those arms. They're going to be like, no.
Yeah, they have. Weapons, I'd rather be spiritually strong than physically strong, though, for sure. I would.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Absolutely. Spiritual strength is something that cannot be replaced and cannot be duplicated. And it's something we need right now because, like we were talking about earlier, the lies are just too thick right now. Like even some of these lies about the Bible and Christ and stuff, like we know that the Antichrist is going to pretend to be Jesus Christ. That
Yeah.
tells you how thick the deception really is.
And
They're
what do
not.
you think? What do you see from the Pope? He's the vicar of Christ. Like he's supposed to be Christ in human form on earth while Jesus is gone. So look into that. So you want to talk about the Antichrist is going to try to be like Christ? That's what the vicar of Christ is, the Pope of the Catholic Church, the Black Pope, the Gray Pope. Look into all that, dude. It's very interesting.
Are you into hunting, fishing, or farming or anything like that?
Well, farming, yeah. Me and my wife, we do farming. We do like we grew like watermelons, we grew like squash, we grew potatoes, we grew sweet potatoes. She's growing plants like right behind me. You could see all these plants, dude. She likes to grow stuff. So mushrooms, she's trying to do that. Like she's just we're just trying to experiment with everything. As far as hunting, I mean, I was in the army, so the only thing is right now the bullets are so hard to get, bro. Like in California, it's tough. Like everybody went and bought all these bullets, and then they say they have a bullet shortage. So it's hard for me to go out there and waste ammo on certain things. I'm trying to keep the ammo for when everything does go down, in case it does, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. And they're going to be taking these things away. We know that they're taking away the guns. They can create the shortages if they can't come into our houses and actually take them. But they know that we have a lot of this stuff. So that when you're talking earlier, something was coming to mind. It does seem like the people that believe in the Bible and the people that are reading between the lines are really the only thing stopping this total takeover of this like totalitarian socialist mentality where we completely lose our rights. It seems like we're the only ones that are really fighting back in any way. And at least on a personal and local level, I do see it making a difference. I think that if we did not put our foot down as spiritual people and at least point out the fact that our rights are being completely ripped from us, I think they would have done it months ago.
Yeah, as we keep giving, they you give an inch, they'll take a mile. They're gonna keep doing that. They're gonna continue doing that and just taking and taking and taking. They're not gonna give it back. It's not gonna go back to normal like people think. I mean, as you say you don't want that certain potion, all they do is just up the ante for what variant is coming out, and then they come out, they want to have the kids start getting that, so then they come out with the variant where all the kids are getting sick, and they're just continuing to, now that they already started this game, they're going to try to finish it, and it's going to keep, like I said, it's going to keep going faster and faster, more rights taken away, more tough on us. But like I said, man, that's why I suggest that you start reading the Bible and getting into God, because you have nothing else. There's nothing. When Jesus, when you see Jesus and he says, "I never knew you," you tell him, "I prophesied in your name," and he says, "I never knew you." You don't want that to happen. You don't want to be like Noah's Ark, where you're knocking on the ark and it's closed and it's done. You have nothing. So like hell is like is just a godless place where you can't go back and you can't say, "Hey, God, forgive me now." You already got your chance on earth, to make the sacrifices and to live for God and to get to know God and to get a relationship with him and learn how to live, try to be obedient as possible, not sinless, but to sin less, so.
Someone in the chat's asking if you are able to quote John 3:16.
John 3:16, God gave his only begotten son. You guys are actually putting me on the spot now. Let me just sorry, dude. You guys, my brain is already mushed.
No worries. I was 50
Jeez.
whether you're gonna nail that one or not. I figured I'd throw it out there.
Basically, like he gave his only begotten son to die for the sins of the world, but I don't want to quote it wrong. So I'll just, do you guys already know it? I'm sorry, dude. I can't go off the top of my head.
No, you're good.
I'm spent right now.
Yeah. When I went on your show, I was saying things. You're like, "Oh, do you know what verse that is?" I was like, "Nope."
For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish. Okay, that's but have everlasting life. Sorry, guys. I know the verse, but you guys put me on the spot, and I'm like I said, I'm spent right now. It's 11 over here at night. So,
well, the good news is we are wrapping things up. But Josh, I do like to open things up at the end of every show and just let you go ahead and hop up on the soapbox, say whatever final things you would like to say to my audience out there, and please, by all means, follow that up by anything at all that you would like to plug.
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram at Josh Monday Music. You can follow me on YouTube at Josh Monday Music and podcast. It's all one word, the Josh Monday Music, and then there's and then there's podcast. You can also follow us on Spotify. It's Josh Monday Christian and Conspiracy Podcast. It's me and my brother. And like I said, we have a guest every single week. We got 53 episodes out now. God has blessed us with some amazing guests. And if you like what you heard tonight, go check it out. Also, if you could please follow and subscribe to Daniel's YouTube. Go to his Apple, and if you could leave a 5-star review and leave a comment for him, that always helps us out as podcasters. And if you feel like doing the same for me, I would really appreciate it. But guys, like I said, you could be a truther and you could search every single conspiracy in the entire world that's ever came out and become the most genius on it. But you're not a genius, and you're not finding the true truth, in my opinion, until you start digging into the word of God, which I believe Jesus is the way, the truth, the life, and that the Bible is the real truth. And then you have a way of dealing with these conspiracies. Yeah, my Bible's over. Yeah. So, you have a way of dealing with these conspiracies on a spiritual level. And like I said, man, the times obviously are the birth pains are getting a lot closer together. People are seeing Revelation unfold in front of them. Daniel 70th week unfolding right in front of them. And now they're actually seeing stuff where they're like, whoa, the Bible is actually right, And I hope that you guys end up studying the Bible. And if you like our podcast, like I said, man, leave us a good review.
Awesome. And Josh, I had a great time, just like I had when I went on your show. And I definitely hope to keep in touch with you. And, after some time has passed and we have more to talk about, why don't we sit down and do it again?
For sure. For sure. We'll have me, my brother, and you on the same podcast next time. And we'll have his comedic humor. And my brother's crazy, man. So yeah, he's always brings the comedy to these crazy subjects. But yeah,
yes,
I would definitely love to.
For us. Absolutely.
I would love to definitely do it. And everybody out there that's listening, thank you so much for listening. If you stuck around all the way to the end, leave a comment and said, I stuck around to the end, because that's amazing that you guys would stick around. I appreciate you guys listening to what I have to say. And thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to speak with you today. God is great. all the time. All the time. God is great.
Absolutely. And you have a good one, Josh. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
That was Josh Monday. Really good guest. Very much enjoyed talking to him, and we will talk to him again in the future. I'm going to go ahead and take a short break and play some music, do the usual thing, get freshened up. Then we'll come back here and we'll vamp for a few minutes. We'll see if anybody wants to jump on. We'll talk about some things that are in the news. We'll talk about some housekeeping stuff. We'll do our mind-blowing moment of the day, and then we'll call it a show. See if I remember how to do all this. That. Okay, music, why are you not playing for me? Hold on, let me restart my program that plays the music. There we go.
Raising consciousness and awakening mankind. This is End of Days Radio.
And welcome back to the end of days. This is your host, Daniel, broadcasting to you all the way from the Pacific Northwest, specifically Seattle, Washington, home of the brave, home of the homeless, home of the coffee drinkers, and teriyaki eaters. Apparently, I just found out that my lovely home city of Seattle is not only the coffee and Starbucks capital of the world, but it's also the chicken teriyaki capital of the world. Yes, the great teriyaki movement started here in Seattle and branched outwards. And even to this day, you can get more teriyaki here than you can get anywhere else. So it looks like Logan, aka Mad Philosopher, is saying he'd like to converse with me. So anybody can jump on at any time. So what you do is you go to the YouTube chat. If you're not in the YouTube chat, go to the YouTube channel for End of Days Radio. Go to the show that's currently airing live. Go to the top of the chat box, and there you will see a link that says "Jump on with us." And as long as you have a webcam and a mic, you'll be able to go ahead and jump on. And you can jump on at this point at any time. When I have a guest on, I'm only going to do it here and there because I'll be bringing you on to ask questions, right? So I saw some people in the backstage earlier and they disappeared. If you guys would have stayed on, I would have brought you on, but unfortunately you would have had to wait for me to have a moment to bring you on. So I've gone on other shows where they just made me wait forever, and I know that kind of stinks. So if anybody doesn't want to do that, I totally understand. But you can jump on anytime when the guest is on, and especially after the guest leaves. This is when we're opening things up, and we're doing it just like our normal Friday night open line shows, where we're bringing on people all the time and doing an interactive show that you can dive in, something immersive and interactive that's a little bit more fun than just hearing me talk about I'm taking a dump yesterday or whatever. I took a dump earlier. It was brutal, man. It was brutal. I had to use baby wipes, but I know nobody wants to hear about that sort of stuff. So why don't you guys come on? You could talk about your poops. How does that sound? Sounds great, right? That chicken sandwich is my mission now. Good choice. There's a lot of good choices out there, especially the one at McDonald's. It's better than the one at Jack in the Box by far. It's better than the Burger King one. The KFC one might be the king. KFC is probably the best. I have not had the Chick-fil-A one yet. I know that's like the main star of the show, so we'll see what happens. Donations. Go to endofdaysradio.com and please click that donate link. It helps so much, so much. So please donate to the show. And I wanted to say thank you so much to everybody that donated last month. You have helped me so much. You've helped me make ends meet. You've helped me pay the cost of putting this show on. And I thank you so much. Please go to endofdaysradio.com and click donate. You can donate through PayPal. You can donate with Bitcoin. You might be able to send me money in the mail or send me presents if you want to. I never ask for these things, but some of you wonderful listeners have sent me some pretty cool stuff. Mainly guests have sent me books. People have sent me little presents here and there. Usually things that are quality and of interest to somebody like me that's into supernatural and paranormal type of topics. So please go to endofdaysradio.com, click donate. I would never charge you for this show. I'll always work to put on this show for you guys for free. But if I was able to make a living, or at least part way, taking donations, doing this show, I'd be able to do a show every day, or at least every other day. So the more you donate, the more I'll be able to put on a show. So I thank you guys so much for donating. This is like PBS. We're just doing donation drives. I'll never go behind a paywall. I will never charge you anything. Shout out to Overprotective that did do the super chat. So that was actually our second ever super chat, and you can do those as well. We're starting to get a lot of comments coming in, and the way you're actually supposed to do it is you're supposed to bring up a comment on the screen if somebody actually does a super chat and donates. But right now we're just getting started with this whole StreamYard thing. So I haven't really done that yet, but we are starting to see a lot more comments. So we might have to start doing something like that in the future, and it'll really help the show as well. What? I don't like that. PayPal is probably better. Yeah, probably. Okay, let's go ahead and see what people have to say. Logan, can you hear me?
Yes, Daniel, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello, how are you doing?
I am doing rather well. How is thou?
I'm doing good. I'm also going to go ahead and bring on Mad Max with us. So we got a little three-way conversation here.
Greetings to you, Mad Max.
Greetings to you, Logan.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would not like to derail this too heavily, but the little bit that I've known my 30 years of existence is basically just doing everything opposite of what this chat was about. And I kind of had a small revelation that I kind of like to share with everybody. I was a part of the church when I was 16 years old. I'm 30 now, so that was 14 years ago. I walked away. I was a devout follower, Protestant. But then it's just like, I'm just torn right now because, like, Daniel, I don't know if you notice on Twitter, I engage in a shotgun approach of information that I come across. And it's just, I've gotten so lost in information that I don't even know, like, what's even legit anymore. You know what I mean?
Talking to me or Daniel?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was grabbing one of my instruments for the mind-blowing moment of the day portion of the show later. But I do completely agree with you, Logan. I do so wish that you had a camera, then we'd be able to see you.
I do apologize. I need to go and spend my day or monthly allotment of currency on a good camera next month. I have to walk all the way down to Walmart to get it. I know we had this in motion for a long time ago, but a lot of weird things happened. My old Twitter account got nuked. I had like about maybe coming up with 4,000 followers, but most of the stuff that I do is esoteric knowledge, occult, magic, power. It's the way that they are describing how the nature of reality works. I've actually done experiments on this. I've done marathon meditations where I will go and just sit and meditate for 24 hours, no food, no water, just breathing. And I've gotten some very weird results. And also, Daniel, is just the reason I keep wanting to showcase these very simple things is there something to it? And if there is, could it be used to our benefit? I know that goes way beyond probably more than I'm allowed to bring up, like, oh, the audacity of Logan. You don't have the power, like, man is weak against the divine. But then it's like, this is true, but Creedence the one who actually goes and stands up to the unholy aspects of divinity. And of course, I'm talking to you about your demons and vampires and all that stuff. And what I notice a lot with the New World Order and their symbology, they're trying to, what it seems to be, is become immortal.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. If they aren't partially already, to answer your question earlier, you were talking about going on social media and seeing a lot of different belief systems being thrown around, and yeah, I totally agree with you on that. And I think they're doing that. They're doing this on purpose. They want to throw so much shit out there that we don't know what to believe because we're constantly arguing about flat Earth versus round Earth, or demons versus aliens,
or even in the church, you have your purple, or was it purple or red cloth?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You have the Jesuits and you have the Franciscans. You have a lot of groups even within the church that don't seem to. The thing about the church is a lot of people think the church is like this Luciferian satanic organization. That's not really true. It's more like there are subsets within the church that are carrying those lines of thought and those magics and beliefs and et cetera, et cetera. It's not really the church itself. It's more like certain groups within the church, which may be the Pope might be part of these groups, or the Pope is probably part of something bigger. But there are. I don't really know. I know that there's good people in the church. Al, you got any thoughts on that?
Well, I got a cousin who was a Benedictine monk, which is the one that's supposed to be satanic, the order in the Catholic Church.
Order of the Catholic Church. I think you're thinking of the Templars, Knights Templar.
No, it's like you got your Benedictines, your Franciscans, and there's another order that's supposed to be running the show.
Who was the apostle that got crucified upside down that everyone views as satanic?
That was John.
I've never heard of that.
You never heard of that. I don't know where I heard this from. Maybe it's Mandela effect or something. Oh, I'm sorry, Max.
John was crucified upside down.
Yeah, because he didn't want to be crucified in the same image of his Lord and Savior. And Max, I didn't mean to cut you off. I do apologize.
Well, John the Baptist was crucified upside down in Jerusalem. And then one of the apostles, either Paul or John, went to Rome and they crucified him upside down too. When he was in Rome.
I mean, you'd be like inverted and all the blood would be rushing to your head. I mean, being crucified is enough.
Yeah.
But upside down, boy, you think your feet would just rip the nails out or something? I don't want to be crucified, especially not upside down. That sounds.
Remember I was chain smoking last time I was on?
Yeah.
I got pneumonia from that.
Oh yeah, you got to work on that smoking stuff.
Hey,
I haven't had one in almost 2 weeks.
Hey Max, and everyone else in chat, this is gonna sound
Logan, real quick. I mean, not right now, but when you're not talking, can you hit mute because you have really bad feedback?
Apologies.
Talking about me?
No, I was talking to Logan, but of course. Oh, I'm still hearing it. Are you muted right now, Logan?
Yeah, I am. Hold on, let me do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was actually Max that is having the feedback issue. So you're actually fine, Logan. Nope, you have it too. Okay, I took them both off. I'll add them both. Yeah, it's just a little bit of feedback. I don't know what's causing it. Weird.
If I can I get Daniel? Can I give you my whole spiel? I'm not trying to turn this into another show. Just a little bit of what I know is through my experiences and literally experiences is everything is eventually you can break everything down into matter, right? And since we all exist in our dimensional framework of reality, you can incorporate yourself into elements of that, kind of like quote unquote jacking in like into the Matrix. And what I'm also able to do, and I'm not gonna, and this is only done with repeated attempts, I'm able to draw out some pain from other people and incorporate it into myself. I'm not quite sure how I do this, but I'm just able to interlink with someone, pull their pain out from them and instill it into myself. And the other things that I've learned is, yes, magic can and has been used for the detriment of mankind, but there are elements of it that can be used if you are not a diehard believer of the faith, which unfortunately 30 years I was only involved in the church for 2, so I got more heresy in my ledger than anything else.
So what church was this?
This was in this was Jesuit institution, Boys Town, Omaha, Nebraska, from 08 to 010.
That's what I was talking about, the Jesuits. They're the Satanic order in the Catholic Church.
Yes, I was raised by them for 2 years. I am aware.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to mention earlier. The Jesuits. They're the ones in the Catholic Church that are freaking running the show with all their satanic bullshit.
And mostly, a lot of these satanic individuals, they don't have the
Sorry, just trying to get rid of that sound. Could you try muting again, Logan? Okay. There it is. You know what it is? You guys both just have feedback, so there's nothing we can really do about it. So go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
Well, I don't know how I got any feedback because I'm only listening to you.
Long story short, if anyone could sense energy, I've currently been undergoing a 24-hour meditation, and I've just been vibing hardcore. And I have I interface with technology to such a degree because I interface with my technology. Because every time I go through this little motion of I go grab the sides of my PC and then I formulate a cable, using your quote unquote imagination, and then I basically stab it into the back of my spine because I like to interlink with my technology. But the problem with doing that and being the type of individual that I am, Daniel, I am an energy vampire, psychic vampire. Unfortunately, I do feed on the essence of life itself, and unfortunately, everything is energy, and technology is comprised mostly of energy encased in a metal framework.
Well, I mean, why do you need to do that? Can't you just survive off your own energy or survive off of energy from God? Why do you have to take energy from other places?
I don't know. It was something that I just have with, just like how my eyes go pure black. I don't know. It's instinctual. It's just the hunger that's always there.
Your eyes go pure black?
I have evidence of this. I have videos and I have footage. I've been taking footage and videos and posting them on Twitter and Facebook. And Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. My eyes go pure black on command, and I'm able to interface with reality to a certain extent. Remember that one thing you asked if I could try to do my techniques and my fun little equations to get rid of COVID? Remember, part of Africa got healed? How is that possible within a day if there wasn't something to it? You know what I mean? It's just, for all I know, I could be grasping at straws and just be, being, entranced by the shadows and the mirrors. But, I spent 28 years studying the wrong things, and I kind of want to study the right things now. You know what I mean?
What do you mean the wrong things?
Oh, Satanism, Wicca, paganism, Native American spirituality, esoteric, cults, actual cults I've been involved in. And yeah.
Well, if your eyes are turning black and you're having issues like that, it might be related. I mean, typically when somebody's eyes turn black, it means possession.
This is true. I've heard this, but possessed from when they're a child. That's very interesting to me.
Yeah, hybrids do that too. Hybrids have black eyes too, and they can do that.
And it's weird. Like, the main things that I'm just trying to incorporate all the stuff I know down into very fragmented sentences. I'm speaking at the level of awareness that you guys have at the current moment in time, based on our short period of time communicating, is how do I want to word this? I'm able to interface with energy, reality, and people and souls. And I've actually dealt with shadow people, dealt with entities that are able to break the veil of reality. Imagine there's a light veil just drenched upon 3D space. 3D, you'll see glimmers of it every now and again. It's like a shimmer. Now, imagine that that's part of the water that is interlaced with the firmament. I don't know, that could me just be talking about absolutely nothing. It's just I felt compelled to say that. All I know is if you become something worse than dark, which is void, you can actually consume darkness and use it to your own benefit. Doesn't have to be nefarious. It does not have to be nefarious at all. If someone's suffering with something and I willingly go and take that from them and incorporate it into my being, I'll do it 1,000 times over.
That's funny. I have a song called "I Eat the Darkness."
You know what? These synchronicities, or whatever you want to call them, I'm finding them very peculiar, good sir.
Well, it's really weird is you're like watching a video on YouTube and watching something on the TV or listening to a song, and then they mention the same word. Like when I'm driving down the road in my truck, sometimes I'll look at a sign on the side of the road and then hear that same word I'm looking at on the sign on the radio. As I'm looking at the sign, like a billboard or something, I'll look at the sign and then I'll hear that same word coming through, either somebody talking or in the song on the radio, as I'm looking at that word on a sign as I'm passing it. Those are
Like
a lot of
that would overprotected. I think you're talking about the Sanguine. There was a falling out between energy and psychic vampires and Sanguine long ago. Oh, some covens straight up hate each other.
What's the difference between a psychic and an energy vampire?
I'm more of a mutation of, you want to call that. Like, let's view vampires as hybrids, right? We're defective, that we can't survive off of our own essence. Like you were saying before, why can't I feed on myself per se? I can. It's just incredibly detrimental to me. And unfortunately, I have to consume the negative aspects of reality. I don't like doing it, but it's something that I'm just inherently able to do.
Well, it's like I'm a psychic vampire too, but I feed on negative energies, like people fighting and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
I don't like lately when I'm walking through my Walmart, as I'm passing the people wearing the mask, I'll just yell, or I won't save it. As I'm walking past them, fucking cowards, as I'm walking past them for wearing the masks.
Max, I feel your rage. I feel the rage coming and the passion out of that. Any thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's been 2 years now, and he's fucking all the shit's coming out that the whole thing's fake, and these assholes are still fucking complying with the fucking. Like my county just issued a new mask mandate last weekend, and
Matt,
there's
Oh, sorry, Max.
Well, it's just like everybody's fucking getting rid of the mask shit, and my fucking county council decides to throw another mask mandate at us. And have you noticed a lot of people getting this coughing thing going on lately, and their voices getting kind of chewed up a little bit?
You got the corona, brother.
From the
You got Omicron.
No, it's from the chem. Well, even the other day, Fauci said everybody's gonna get it. That means they're spraying it in the chemtrails.
Yeah, or they're putting it in our Special K or the water supply. Or
I know a lot of people that got the same problem with their voice box right now. I had pneumonia from that smoking, and then as soon as the pneumonia started going away, my voice box started trashing on me. Now Todd tells me that his mom and freaking about 10, 20 people he knows got the same problem. I've talked to a buddy of mine in Colorado, and he said a whole bunch of people there got the same problem too right now, all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Can you believe we're doing a show without Todd? This feels weird. Like, where is he?
Yeah,
the Brady Bunch here.
I haven't been able to get a hold of him all week. He's been wanting me to come over to his house and work on that song for you.
Oh yeah, he's been really getting into that. I'm looking forward to what him and his cousin Eric are able to come up with.
Yeah, they wanted me to come over there and jam with them, but like I said, I've been too sick lately and freaking. Like I said, I had pneumonia from chain smoking and sub-freezing temperatures.
Hey, Max. Hey, Max.
Yeah.
Can I give an offer to heal your voice and take away your sickness and incorporate it into myself?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Just tell me if you actually do feel anything in real time. All right. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm just basically forming a connection to you.
What you should know is I've had this several times over the last few years too. From my smoking cigarettes, my voice will go away for like a month and a half, and then it comes back.
Have you had a bout with cancer?
Nope, my brother did. Killed him.
I always wondered if cancer was like us taking in too much negative energy and causing our cells to mutate. I wonder if there's like some black magic aspect to cancer.
I don't really have a problem with cancer because I've got this connection with upstairs and I got a job to do here.
Right. Hey, Max, do you feel just any better at all? Because what pulled out in my hand was just a big lump of just ick. Not from you, but it's just you got phlegm and ick.
Yeah, that's what's caused my voice to get all messed up is the phlegm coming up out of my lungs from the chain smoking out in my backyard in sub-freezing temperatures until my fingers get freaking start hurting. And I smoke too much driving my truck too.
Can I ask you a question? Are you able to read energies from a vast difference? Because I'm currently out in Iowa land right now.
I've got a kind of a blockage on energies and stuff like that. Like I should be able to. There's times where I can't feel energies, like I'm getting a Kundalini kind of right now. Maybe that's that could be you. You know what a Kundalini is, right?
Yes, I do.
Kundalini, sure.
Yeah, I'm starting to get something like that on my right or left side right now.
Ever since stream's been going on in the meditations, I've just been. But this isn't matter of expertise. I do apologize for that. This was something that Daniel and I wanted to talk about for a while, and I just want to throw out a lot of stuff at him just so I can do a brief introduction to what I've known, what I've done. All I know is for people who choose to walk away from God and the faith, and that we feed on the darkness itself. It's not a job. Like, it's something that I just always felt called to do, in a sense. It's like I always felt like I wanted to purify the darkness so it could protect everybody, because
Right.
God made the light and the dark.
Right. It's like my mentor. He prays for the dark ones, and he's had them actually come to him and tell him, "Can you please stop praying for me? I can't do what I do if you keep praying for me." Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yes, if you think about it, everything is like a grand design display. This is going to be some extrapolated thinking. Even the most harmful negative thing has a purpose, right? But if you take that away from the grand design of things, eventually it falls apart without it. Now, what I'm not saying is doing the things that these obvious satanic, demonic, chasing individuals do is not okay. There are certain limits to what I'm trying to say, and when you're trying to incorporate that, it's from energy. Now, the thing with energy is if you take a huge amount of negative energy, it is a spike on a grid line. But if you follow positive energy, it is a constant, stable growth. This ease, yes. Overprotecteds kind of know what's going on. And
spikes are bad. Like, you could have an insulin spike. That's bad for you.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm trying to say is there's it takes a level of understanding that you have to just take a step back and look at how everything all incorporates with each other. We all have a reason for existence.
Do you know what a psychotronic generator is?
Psychotronic.
I think that's what makes you have to
It's like a device. It's like a device that absorbs psychic energies. Like, say you go into a crowd of angry people and suck up all their energy, and then you can hold that in the machine, and then say you've got a peaceful demonstration, and you can release that energy onto the crowd of peaceful protesters and turn it into an angry mob, or vice versa. You could take a peaceful demonstration and absorb that energy and release that onto an angry mob and calm them down.
One thing that I try to do is I kind of notice that we're all, thank you for sharing that, Max, by the way. That's a good segue, because on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, I don't know how to make music, but I love to share it. And what I've noticed is that when you put yourself in an elevated state of consciousness in meditation, or me, I smoke pot every now and again. I ain't gonna hide. I ain't gonna shuffle around that.
My job made me quit.
Yeah, I know, it's a bummer, ain't it? Max, when's the last time you fed?
Probably yesterday when I was at Walmart calling these people freaking cowards for freaking wearing a mask, and then they got all pissy about it.
Yeah, you got to realize you can tell when something is harming you. Correct.
Yeah.
Walmart's probably not the best to do the psychic vampire thing. You might want to go to like some classy joint or go to.
I'm not doing it to be a psychic vampire. I'm pissed off that these people are still falling for the bullshit. And the county told them to start putting masks on when freaking the CDC is telling you masks don't work.
Yeah, masks are bullshit. Okay, you guys, there's a video from Poppy. I've talked about Poppy on this show before. She's that YouTube sensation musical artist that's an Illuminati slave.
Well, no.
Yeah. If you watch her videos, back in 2016, she's making videos saying the scary mask is coming. And she's
talking about that little girl from Dance Moms that's got real popular right now.
Poppy is completely different. She's this YouTuber who does videos where she has like blood dripping down her nose. She has the devil in a lot of her videos, triangle, all kinds of Illuminati imagery. And years ago, she was telling us that the whole scamdemic was going to happen. She was actually telling us through her symbolic, weird little artistic videos what was coming. This was like 4 years before 2020 when everything actually happened. She was doing this one video where she had like this veil across her face, and she had a germ, like a virus, sticking to it, and she's saying, "Oh, it can't get me because I have this veil on." Like, she's mocking us years ago for what we're gonna have to go through today. It's the crazy.
That's like the opening ceremonies on the Olympics in London.
Yeah, exactly.
Big giant freaking death and all them people in the freaking hospital beds and shit.
Exactly like that. It's just more proof. There's even a interview that Jesse Ventura did with this woman. I can't remember what her name is, but she just laid the whole plan out. She laid it all out. And even Bill Gates was talking about a virus taking over. He was talking about a years and years ago, people were like, why is Bill Gates talking about this stuff? What are they planning? Are they planning to release a disease on us? And sure enough, here we are.
You know, the reason I got on here in the first place, Dan, is I wanted to ask you, have you heard that the Washington State Department of Health has approved COVID quarantine camps for non-vaccinated people?
The National Guard has been activated in a few states for that purpose. Iowa's one of them.
Actually, what happened was a bunch of people started calling the Washington Health Committee and making death threats, going crazy. They're calling all the local sheriff offices, and the Washington Health Committee denied, nope, we never had anything like that on the agenda. I mean, they're probably lying. I mean, you can tell what's going on in Germany and Australia.
I got a buddy that lives in Washington. He told me that they announced they're going ahead with their COVID quarantine camps for non-vaccinated people in the state of Washington.
Well, I don't know if that's true or not. There's people that deny it, but there does seem to be laws in place that would allow something like that would happen. All they have to do is activate those laws for COVID as a disease, and then health officers can have police tell people to go to they can have health officers can tell police to forcibly quarantine people, but it doesn't have to be like in a camp or anything like that. It could be their home, it could be their workplace. It's very vague.
I told you what's going to happen if they show up on my doorstep.
Well, hey, like I was saying with Josh earlier, the only thing that's keeping these things from just totally rolling out are people putting their foot down and saying, hell no, I won't go, or I'm not going to go along with this.
I just found a video, a friend of mine from over in the Philippines or something like that posted over in Australia. Some PM announced that if you're unvaccinated, you can't go anywhere now. You're not allowed to leave your house. If they haven't rounded you up already, you're not allowed to even leave your house. No job, no shopping, no nothing.
Yeah,
basically,
that's how
it's going to starve you out.
That's how it's hitting in other countries. But hey, I'm going to switch directions. I'm going to go ahead and do a roundtable. Are you down? Are you guys both down to doing a roundtable?
Give me the parameters of the activity, sir. And I have all the time in the world, sir. I'm loving this. This is so awesome just to be able to talk to you like this.
Well, I want to go ahead and do a roundtable. And basically how that works is sometimes we find ourselves all kind of talking at once, which doesn't really work, especially now we just went from 3 to 4 people. And basically the reason for this is so we don't talk over each other and we can discuss a topic without it sounding horrible for the listening audience out there. So I'll go ahead and throw a topic out there. I'll call on somebody first, and then we'll just go ahead and go in order and let everybody have their piece. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a topic out there. I want to talk about the deaths of Betty White and Bob Saget. Apparently, ever since they died, people are saying that both of them were on Epstein Island. I don't know if they said that about Betty White, but they're calling her a pedo. They're saying Bob Saget is a pedo and that he was on Epstein Island. And me personally, I'll go ahead and go first. I personally don't really like it because I at least like Bob Saget. I'm not that familiar with Betty White other than she was on Golden Girls, which I know was a really big show. But Bob Saget, I think, is cool. Like, he was on Full House, which is a great show. And he was on Fuller House, which I watched every episode of Fuller House. And he was also good friends with Artie Lang. So, through following Artie, I kind of know him through there. And I just wonder if like a lot of truth people are, getting a little ahead of themselves and accusing pretty much everybody to be a pedophile. But let's go ahead and start with Logan, and then we'll go to Al, aka Mad Max. Then we'll go with Sherry down in the corner. So Logan, go ahead. I'm going to hit mute on my mic.
Yes, sir, Daniel. And hi, Sherry. Hopefully things are going well in your corner of the world. What I have to say about these is it was very peculiar, the amount of symbology, the amount with Betty White in particular, the amount of symbology, the amount of just the whole affair around Betty White's death, which is very weird for me that I noticed upon with what little bit that I know. But with Bob Saget, I haven't had a chance to review any of the Epstein flight logs because the amount of information out there is astronomical, so I have nothing to say about that. But the whole thing is just odd, and I guarantee it was done with the furthering of basically gathering energy and just enforcing this negativity of grief upon people. And that's all I have to say about that.
My turn. Okay, I got some new scuttlebutt about Betty White. Her and Barbara Bush are sisters, and their biological father is Aleister Crowley.
Really?
She has admitted in some interviews that you're not going to find anywhere that she lost her virginity at the age of 4 in a sexual satanic ritual. And as far as I'm finding out, her and Bob, the more you look pure as the driven snow on television, the more evil you really are in real life. So Betty White came across as pure as a driven snow, so did Bob Saget, but in reality, they're part of the whole frickin' insider Hollywood satanic pedophile bullshit.
That is an interesting point you make, Al. Anything else for us?
Well, like I said, her and Barbara Bush are biological sisters, and they're the daughters of Aleister Crowley. So that tells you where they've been all this time, what they've been up to. And I'll just leave it at that and let Sherry talk.
All right, Sherry, welcome back to End of Days Radio. Any thoughts on Bob Saget and Betty White? Sherry, are you there? Her mic is muted. There she is. But her mic is still muted. And
I think, Sherry, you self-mic'd. I think you need to hit it on your own display.
let's see.
Yeah, she needs to. If she's on her phone, it's in the bottom right side or bottom left corner.
There it
There you
goes.
go.
Sherry, can you hear us? Sherry. I'm not hearing anything now.
Can you hear me, Sherry? She can't hear any of us.
I think she might have like hit her volume and now she can't even hear us.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh shoot. Well, she's probably going to try to get that working out. I think I think what happened was she hit her volume, so it didn't quite work out. But let's go ahead
I
and
thought I hit her mute too.
let's do a couple more rounds of the roundtable, and then we'll call it a day. But another really big topic that's been floating around, we got to touch on this one. The big Joe Rogan interview with Dr. Malone. You know, very, very divided lines on that one. As you know, one of the patent holders for the actual, let's see, Sherry's trying to hop on again. One of the patent holders for the actual mRNA vaccines, Dr. Malone, he went on Joe Rogan's show, got millions and millions and millions of views. Everybody on social media is talking about it. In fact, like 270 doctors and medical people signed a petition to get the interview taken down. It seems like everybody, and I'm going to go first again, the roundtable. It seems like everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people in the truth community are really into Joe Rogan. They love Joe Rogan. I'm a bit skeptical of him. I'm wondering if he might be one of these like Alex Jones types, one of these disinfo agents. There's no way I can prove or disprove that, but I have to look at a lot of the things he's been saying about flat Earth. The things he's been saying about like the moon landing. For years he was telling people the moon landing was fake, and then nowadays he's saying, oh, the moon landing's real. I talk to people from NASA. People that believe in flat Earth are stupid and they don't know the truth. So I'm very skeptical of anything that Joe Rogan says. I'm very skeptical of Joe Rogan in general. I think he's probably controlled opposition. Logan, any thoughts on that?
Yes, a few thoughts that actually resonated very strongly with me with Joe Rogan. That man, first off, what the elite are trying to do now is they're trying to slowly peel things back on their terms. And by having disinfo agents, gatekeepers, stuff like that, people are initiated. Is when it comes to Joe Rogan and all that, it's the more, okay, do you guys remember this? A brief, forgive the analogy, Harry Potter, and it was the first movie, and they got into that vine pit. The more you struggle the more energy gets ripped off and the more they can control and direct you. They're directing your focus of attention. Wherever you focus on reality becomes that reality. I would love to talk all about just awareness and all that and what all my whole stick is about, but that won't be today. But with Joe Rogan and that podcast, yes, it caused more issues than it solved. Sherry, yeah, you can hear you now. You got it fixed.
Hey, I think we're getting some
I don't
sound from
know.
Sherry.
It's cutting in and out when I hear y'all. Can y'all hear me?
There we
Yeah.
go. Did you want to go back and give any thoughts on Bob Saget or Betty White? Did you have anything to say on that, or should we just keep rolling forward?
I was going to say that I don't really know much about Betty White, but as far as Bob Saget goes, I don't know if y'all have ever seen any of those roasts and stuff that are on, but they've like do you know what I'm talking about? They do like these roasts of
They
each
just
other.
had
this
one-
Oh,
they just had one
celebrities.
yesterday.
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah, and he straight up says all kind of stuff about like doing kids and stuff like that. And I heard that like the parents on the Full House that had problems with him and things like that. I don't think any of the girls that were on there like really complained about anything that I'm aware of, but there's some sketchy stuff going on, and it's very easily found on YouTube. You check it out.
There you go.
I know he used to make some pretty nasty, like pedophilia related jokes when he did stand up comedy. This might have been before Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos, but people used to always tell me Bob Saget, when he's not on America's Funniest Home Videos, he has some really dirty humor. And
That might tell you just how long he's been into it.
yeah. But anyways, moving forward, Logan, did you have any thoughts to finish up about Joe Rogan?
Oh, I actually tried to encapsulate most of it, but I think I missed the nail on the head with Joe Rogan. That man is hardcore. Do not trust. Do not follow. If you want to get entangled with that man and the magics that he weaves, go all for it. He may have been not as Jesus, what's the word here? He may not have been as entwined with the elite, if you want to call them that, as in the past than he is now. But nowadays, you can just read him, read the energy that comes off of him, and he's just no good. And the thing with people like Joe Rogan and Alex Jones, remember when the whole QAnon thing came out? Well, remember when everything was trying to capsulate on, everybody was trying to get on the whole Q phenomenon. Alex Jones came up with QAnon Zach. Remember that? What everyone's trying to do is they're trying to divert everyone's attention onto things they don't want. Don't trust their advice. Don't trust anyone. Trust in God the Father. That's all I want to say. And thank you for your time to have me on.
Absolutely. Al, did you want to talk about Joe Rogan a little bit?
Well, I'm unfamiliar with that interview, but I know the guy that freaking came up with the mRNA test straight up said it doesn't work, and then they killed him. And as far as Joe Rogan goes, well, you don't get to be on TV unless you're one of them, right?
That's what they say.
He was on Fear Factor, and doesn't he have his own show in syndication on certain cable channels or whatnot?
Yes. No, he used to be on News Radio, and he used to be on Fear Factor, and he's still the commentator / announcer for the UFC, I believe. I haven't really watched UFC in a long time. I watched a little bit here and there, but I used to be super into MMA, but I don't really watch it at all anymore, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but they don't let you on TV unless you're part of their whole freaking game, as it were. So he's got to have something going on that, like Logan said, he's probably a disinformation agent. Like I was listening to InfoWars a lot lately, but frickin' Alex Jones just keeps going on and on and on about frickin' Trump frickin' pushing the vaccine. And I found another story about on Real Raw News that military told Trump if he doesn't quit pushing that frickin' vaccine, they're gonna frickin' take his ass out and put somebody else in there, take his place.
Yeah,
White
I
House
saw
better.
some of that. Yeah, Alex Jones is putting his foot down with Trump. Trump better. Alex Jones is calling the shots now, apparently.
No, not Alex Jones, the frickin' White Hats in the military.
Oh, okay. So
They're telling him, you better fucking quit pushing this fucking vaccine shit, or we're gonna fucking take you out. And maybe we'll just make John Kennedy Jr. president instead of vice president.
you know what's interesting is I saw a video of Trump, and he goes up on stage and he draws an invisible Q. That was the first time I ever saw him acknowledge QAnon or Q or any of that. It was pretty trippy.
Yeah, my mom watches all his speeches that are on Fox News or whatever, but I don't. I know he's still president. John F. Kennedy Jr. is our vice president right now.
I don't know about that, but I've been getting more into like some of the right wing Q stuff and the stuff about white hats and stuff like that. Not that I, as you know, I don't really believe that stuff is totally real, but as far as like information purposes and just kind of like understanding what's going on in the world, I actually think it's essential to look into QAnon and some of these things coming out of the right that are supposedly coming out of the military. And
so the white hat thing is real, and the alliance is real. I got friends in the know that give me information that's it's real.
I have to admit, there's times when I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, maybe Al's right. Maybe this is real. Like, I don't know. It's just because I'm reading so much about it and I'm starting to kind of just believe it or what. But when I saw Trump do the Q thing, I'm thinking, wow, so Trump actually does acknowledge Q. He's hinting that there's some truth to what Q says, which is, or I don't know if Q says this or the QAnon people actually say this. They say that Q is somebody that works for the Trump administration who is giving information to the general public.
Do you want to know what Q was originally designed for?
Sure.
To release all information onto the internet using memes, music, videos, frequencies, colors, everything. It was a quantum level of disseminating information.
Yeah, it's like the war war isn't a war of tanks and guns and bombs.
No,
it's a war of information using like memes as part of the arsenal.
Correct. I'm sorry, Dan. I was trying to alleviate some confusion with that. I do apologize.
There's no need to apologize, man. You should not apologize too much. You did nothing wrong.
And also it doesn't help that I had a Red Bull not that long ago, so my thoughts are all
don't be one of those people that like apologizes when you don't need to. Everybody hates that, believe me.
You're up pretty late over where you're at.
Yeah, you don't have to apologize to me. I'm an asshole. Just be yourself.
I like to have a little bit of respect, and I don't want to overstep my bounds because this is my platform. But basically,
believe me, you're good. We have Todd come on here, drunk off his ass, just interrupting people.
Oh no, is he kind of? Like...
I'm just joking with you.
Nice.
No, he's got to work tomorrow. He won't even call me unless he's freaking drunk.
That seems to be my experience.
I call him all the time. He never answers his phone except when he's drunk. They don't answer his damn phone.
I got him now, though, because if I think he's going to call me, I get drunk myself. So he's like, hey, Daniel. And I'm like, Todd?
He only lives like a mile and a half away from me.
Yeah, Todd and Al are actually friends in real life, for those who didn't know that.
Oh, wow. Hey, Daniel, can I explain one thing that's just in my mind, just screaming, just to tell you for some reason?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll see if we can do one more roundtable, and then we'll kind of call it a show.
Yes, sir. Whatever you give your energy, direction, and focus, and whatever you work with becomes your reality. Don't ask where it came from. I don't know. That's all I have to say on that.
Okay, right on. Very true, by the way. Let's go ahead and do one more roundtable. I wanted to talk about the moon. The moon is often thought, and this is me going, by the way. The moon is often said to be some sort of reincarnation device or mind control device. We know that it has some heavy occult significance. It's used quite a bit in the world of the occult and the world of witchcraft. So, guys, starting with you, Logan, do you have anything to say about the moon? Does it have any sort of mystical or mind control significance?
Yes. To put it very simply, the moon, depending if you deal with aliens or you really get into the demonic stuff, it's an artificial construct. It wasn't necessarily made from our planet, as some would like to go to claim. And when I was involved with a certain reverse speaking group, it was said that's actually where they go and torture a lot of us, clone us, reincarnate our souls so we can't leave. We're stuck in like a time loop / net. Think of time as a flat circle and it's endless and it's always been there. But when it comes to the moon, it's an artificial construct. There's so much attributed to it with thoughts, rituals, energy, all that you have a large gathering of mana, of energy. You can direct whatever you want with it because you're having half the planet being shown energy of light, of reverse light, inverse light from the sun. And there's a lot tied to that. And I really wish I could talk more about it, but I know I'll go 30 minutes in 5 minutes. So I'll end it on there.
Okay, thanks, Logan and Mad Max, aka Al. Anything you want to say on the moon, buddy?
Well, Logan is right. It is not from our solar system. It is an ancient Andromedan spaceship that was parked here as an observation platform, and then the reptilians came along and they commandeered it and turned on or built some sort of reincarnation machine on there that is trapping souls on this planet through the reincarnation system, sending them go like that tunnel with the light at the end of it. That's not heaven. That's a holding center where they grab you and you got 50 years to reincarnate, or they'll throw your ass back down there and your soul start disintegrating. But if you wait longer than 50 years to reincarnate, your soul will start to disintegrate, and that's why you have to go into the reincarnation machine. But there are ways to get around it. The easiest way to get around is to not go into the tunnel with the light at the end of it. And once the tunnel disappears, you'll see the holes in the net up in the sky that you can go through to get the hell out of here.
Okay, so everybody keep your eye out for that. Keep your eye out for the alternate exit.
They just use the images of your loved ones to try and suck you into their freaking reincarnation trap.
Man, you're scaring me. So now, not only do I have to die, but I gotta get tricked. I gotta get the swerve ending too. This thing said swerve ending. Like, can I get a break here? Like, I'm gonna die. They're still gonna start. They're gonna keep lying to me. One more big lie. Okay, Sherry. Glad to see that we have you back. Are you able to talk now?
I'm gonna try, even though I look like silly. I
Oh,
got my
you look
crown
great.
on, so I'll give
And you
the
sound it.
my queen answer. Oh, good, because yeah, it's like I was on AirPods and it kept cutting in and out, and I was like, oh my gosh, something doesn't want me on here or something. And then I can't aim this camera right. I think it's reversed, which brings me on to what I was going to say about the moon. I feel like so many things were told to us inverted that that could be opposite. And I don't know. I mean, I hate to bring up other channels on a channel, but has anyone ever watched Decode Your Reality with Logan? Because you ask me, you know, like he has a video called The Sun Devil, and sometimes the things aren't what they. I still and I get okay. That's my answer.
Okay, and we did have a little bit of audio issue there, so you're kind of going in and out. Looks like when Al mutes his mic that we're able to hear a little bit better. Al, could you mute your mic?
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, I didn't have my mic muted. I just wanted to show, she said she had her crown on. I got a crown of thorns made out of barbed wire I made about 20 years ago.
Yeah, I saw you put that on. I was kind of putting it on the screen there. Well, since we're still roundtabling and we finally got Sherry here, let's go ahead and do one more, but let's just do our soapbox. There it goes. Al put his mic on mute, and now that freaking buzzing is finally gone. That was driving me crazy. Thanks, Al. But we're gonna go ahead and do one more.
That wasn't me because I've had my mic muted a whole bunch of times. It just finally went away.
Yeah, I don't know. When you mute, it seems to stop. And it's not your fault. It's this program. It has bugs, but it seems to go away. Let's go ahead and do one more. Let's go ahead and it looks like Sherry lagged out on us again. Her connection isn't working that great. Looks like So the buzzing only goes away when Logan and Al are both on mute. So they must both be having some kind of feedback. And of course, it's not their fault. I'm not blaming them. It's just a buggy program. But let's go ahead and just talk to everybody one more time. And let's go ahead and just soapbox it and say whatever you would like to say to my audience out there before we call the show. Logan, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Daniel. All I would like to say is I would like to pose a certain question to all of you. It is said that 1/3 of the angels were pulled from heaven into the abyss, into the pit. What if some of them chose to go to fight the darkness eternally? And what I mean with that is there are individuals like myself that have yet to show themselves, and it is our job to deal with the purification of darkness itself. And there are things that I am doing that will be done, because those who corrupt and pollute the darkness, those of you that are listening at this point in time, you will be dealt with in the most efficient manner possible, which is complete absorption. But enough with that doom and gloom. On a brighter note, whatever you wish to attain or achieve, you may. And always remember, God made us all for a purpose. Stay true to it. Trust in no one in these dark times. Trust in only God the Father. And when it comes your time to stand in front of the face of the Almighty, stand proud.
Okay, and let's go ahead and go to Sherry next before she lags out again or we lose her. Go ahead, Sherry. And we might be too late because her picture froze on the screen again and we can no longer hear her. So, Al, it is all about you, my friend. It is all about you. Go ahead and soapbox it and give us your final thoughts for the night.
Hang on. Well, it's funny. Logan should mention some of us are going into the pit to do battle, because I don't know if you can see this.
Holy shit. What are you sacrificing tonight?
No, I'm going into the pit to fucking take care of some people down there that fucking pissed me off.
Oh, that's better.
This is a battle sword for fucking going against them fallen pieces of shit.
Nice.
That yeah, some of us are here. Like I used to tell people, I started up there and I'm on my way down there to freaking take care of some business. When I'm done with my flesh up here, I'm going downstairs for a minute and gonna take care of some individuals down there before I go back upstairs. But all I want to tell your audience is be excellent to each other and live long and prosper and have a better day than you imagine.
I like it. Okay, guys, I appreciate you coming on. Very fun times. It's always good to talk to you. I appreciate you coming on this program because that's what we are all about. We are all about roundtabling it. We are sorry, Sherry. I don't know what happened with that. This program can be very buggy. It is an awesome program, so I do like using it. I do intend to keep using it, but I'll do my best to work around some of these audio issues that we've been having. I don't know what causes them. It seems to be when certain people come on, it starts, and then when I take them off, it stops. So I don't know why it does that, but I'll look into it and I'll do my best to correct it if I can't correct it. Otherwise, we'll just keep working around it. But it wasn't really that bad. It was a little bit of buzzing interference. It seems to have gone away. So we were able to hear everybody just fine. So I'm not going to be too picky about it. I learned not to be too picky about stuff because there's always something going wrong. Putting on a podcast is so complicated. There's so many different wires and mixers and microphones and programs that you have to use. There's almost always something going wrong. So I've learned to just try to put on a good broadcast, and sometimes you have to go back and you have to edit things and fix things, but you really got to keep moving forward because your guest is going to be on that day, that night, and you have everybody gathered, so you got to keep going. That's just how it is. Podcasting is not easy. I've said a million times, there's not a whole lot of reward for it. You have to work your butt off, like I was talking about with Josh earlier. Just the preparation alone, you can't always go in and fly by the seat of your pants. You're going to have certain guests. If you don't know what they're about, if you haven't at least you don't always have to read their books, but at least you got to like go listen to some interviews of theirs on other shows, or look for some read the backs of their books, or read their Amazon bios, or do something. You can't just go on and wing it. I do see people do that from time to time. Some people are really good at faking it, but I can always tell. And guests appreciate when you kind of know what they're about and you can converse with them. I mean, I wish some guests would kind of understand a little bit more that what I like to do with my show is I like to bring people on and have what they have to say be the content of the show, and to get people to read their book. And me getting to know them and their work for the first time sometimes is really good, because they can explain who they are rather than skip to the medium level, go from beginner to medium and get too deep in their work, if that makes sense. Sometimes you want to kind of start off at the surface and then peel, because people that are first listening, chances are they have not read your book, and you want to get them to read your book. So being a guest isn't easy either. I've been going on a guest on a lot of different podcasts, and you have to have something prepared. I mean, sure, I can drink a bunch of caffeine, excuse me, and I can vamp for hours. You know, I can talk for hours just fine. But is it going to sell people on who I am? And is it going to sell people on my hypothesis and what I'm trying to convince people of? I've got my own thesis, right? And I want people to understand that it's real, that it's reality. And I'm not going to do that if I don't put together an argument that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm way off the deep end. I'm one of the more outlandish people out there. I'm deep in the fringe, deep down the rabbit hole. So when your average person hears the stuff that I have to say, they're going to be like, this guy's crazy. He's mentally ill. He belongs in a straitjacket. Get him off of my phone. Get him off of my computer. You know what I'm saying? So I have to repackage what I believe, and I have to, I wouldn't say dumb it down, but at least package it so people can actually understand what I'm saying. You know, that's why I was telling Josh going on his show actually helped me, because I realized I did not have my Bible quotes prepared. I needed to have that stuff written down. So if I'm giving a Bible verse, then I can tell you where it's at, so you can verify it and prove it to yourself, and you'll probably be more likely to believe what I'm saying, because we can follow, you know, A plus B equals C, therefore C minus A equals B, right? That's how logic actually works. And that's how you become a good liar, is you learn to use logic to convince people of things that aren't necessarily true. You know, you use little logic loopholes, and you use diagrams and graphs and statistics to bullshit people. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to expose all of the bullshit out there, all the bullshit statistics, all the things that just don't add up, things that don't add up in our environment. Because these people that control the world, they are good liars, but we're better detectives than they are liars. So we're going to just peel it all away. We're going to figure out what they're lying about. We're going to figure out the truth. We know they lie about the Bible. We know they lie about history. We know they lie about what's above us in space. And yeah, I do think more and more people are waking up. The great awakening, so to speak, the great awakening. This is a real thing, you know. I used to kind of laugh at that whole idea, because it was from the MAGA, QAnon sort of world, and I wanted to kind of distance myself from that. But hey, you know what? We really are experiencing some kind of great awakening. I can't deny that, because people are literally waking up left and right. Not enough, not my family, not people that are in my workplace, but I see it. Sorry, I've been eating this. I'm eating this stuff. Cranberry health mix. I'm trying to get healthier. I've been putting on a lot of weight ever since I moved, just because the stress of moving, the stress of the pandemic, everything that's been going on, I've been putting on a weight, and it's time to finally hit the brakes and do something about it and get back into just stellar shape. If you guys remember, like 2 summers ago, I was in the best shape of my life. I had a 6-pack. I was 10. I looked better. I felt better. And it's not about looking better. It's about feeling better. It's about, you know, not eating tons of junk food and then, you know, taking a big giant diarrhea turd and just, tearing up your bowels and always being in pain. It's not all about your weight. There's other reasons to eat right. Your immune system, right? You gotta eat good foods for your body to heal itself. If you have a lot of old injuries or you feel tired a lot, unless you start eating good, you're not gonna feel any better. Especially, I'm not young anymore. Like little 20-year-olds, they can go around and smoke their vapes all day. They can eat candy for breakfast. They can eat pizza for every meal, and they just feel fine, right? It's ridiculous. I hate them. They can abuse their bodies like I once did, and they don't look none the worse, and they don't feel none the worse. Screw them. Screw those little punks in their 20-year-old bodies. I'm 39, so I have to actually take care of myself. If I don't take care of myself, I'll be laying there like, ugh, And it sucks when you start putting weight on because you feel all the fat on your body rolling around, and you feel like you try to go to sleep and you lay on your side and your fat just rolls over and flops around. It's like, ew, what's going on? I miss it when there wasn't like this fat between my arms when I sleep on my side or between my legs. What's going on here? You know what I mean? What's this? My son is 24, been drinking beer and eating peanut butter. And, I forgot Sherry's kids' names. She might not want me to say them on air, but I remember one of them, and I think I remember her son's name, but I forgot her other daughter's name. So she'll have to remind me of that. I like foraging in the food. I like foraging for food in the forest. This is something I want to do because I know since I live in the Pacific Northwest in the Seattle area that I can actually go out into the forest and basically just pick stuff off of the floor, like mushrooms and twigs and leaves and stuff like that. And I could actually feed myself doing that. Apparently, you can literally just walk into the forest and take care of yourself because God provides. And we need to realize that so we're not dependent on them, depend on the elite and their energy, their food lines and their sewage, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see here. You have to feed your mental health also and quit the program that we were bombarded with early. Yeah, it drains you. It literally, the stuff that we see out there, it literally stresses you out and drains you. Like when you turn on Twitter or whatever, YouTube, and you see somebody getting attacked or a dog being shot, innocent animal being hurt or tortured, that can really do things to your soul. I think that we do need to tune out from the programming in order to feel good, in order to cleanse our auras. That gets into the eating thing again, because when you fast or when you eat right and you diet, it actually is a form of fasting because you're not constantly putting food in your mouth. And there's times when the food in your body is able to thin out, and it kind of has the same effect as fasting, and it kind of resets your body, cleans out the starches in your body, does stuff like that. I'd have to read about that. Sadly, everything I learn I forget, so I have to reread about the dieting stuff. Okay, looks like Sherry is talking about her kids, Kayla, Darby, and Devin. That's right. I definitely remember Darby because she would come on our show sometimes. She was pretty funny. I'm 30 and I eat what I can afford. Hey, I've been there too. I mean, top ramen, baby. If you are going to eat top ramen, I highly recommend buying your own soup stock. I recommend buying your own spices to put in there. I recommend buying your own mushrooms. I recommend buying something like cilantro to add flavor, some ginger. So take your low sodium soup stock, your low sodium chicken broth, and pour that in a pot, and then put your ginger in there and your cilantro and let that cook for a while, and then add your mushrooms, let them harden up a little bit, and then add your noodles. And before then, you should be adding other vegetables and stuff, whatever you want to put in there. But point being, do not eat the spice packet that comes with the top ramen. That will kill you right quick. But if you just take the noodles and you make your own broth, you can turn top ramen into the healthiest thing ever. The healthiest thing ever. I've been looking pregnant with an alien baby for 15 years now. Well, hopefully, Al, that alien baby does not burst out of your chest at any point. That would be terrible. We do not want that to happen, buddy. Darby is my little twin. Okay, well, she should come on here and join us again on the roundtable. Nature is a remedy or a top one. What's a top one? I'm not sure I know what a top one is. Or it's a top remedy. Absolutely. Yeah, nature can heal you for sure. You go out in nature, it calms you down, it gets your head right. Get away from all the frequencies coming in. That's a big problem. You know, the old temples in the past, they built the temples to block frequency. Like if you look at the pyramid, that's all stone. That's designed so all these crazy Atlantean technologies couldn't come in there, and all these gods and demons couldn't influence your mind, because that's happening all the time. That's probably happening right now. So if you want to clear your mind and truly heal, you need to go build a temple. And that way you can block all the frequencies. Kind of like a Faraday cage. You heard of a Faraday cage? That was real big on that show Lost. They had a guy named Faraday on there that was supposed to be the center, blah, blah, blah. Lost was terrible at the end. If you don't want to watch it, I don't blame you. At least watch the first, like, however many seasons. Moving on. I don't recommend 24-hour or more marathon meditations for all. Logan, what are you doing, dude? That's a long time to be meditating. Daniel, can you send me a link? Send me another Discord link. Actually, I don't have to, because you can go to endofdaysradio.com and you can click on Discord and you can click on chat room, and that will actually be a permanent Discord link. So anybody that wants to go in the Discord, I do want everybody in the Discord, if you wouldn't mind joining, because that's where we're all kind of gathering, and that's where we're forming a group, and that's where we're talking about the show. It's kind of like a behind the scenes for the show. So just go to endofdaysradio.com, click Discord, and you can join right away. And I'd be very happy if you would all join. Al talking about going to light. I think all these things are to put it in our minds, because we get what we believe. Look at Q map, MK Ultra in center, and it goes out to all. Yeah, I mean, who's to say? It might have something to do with that whole Saturn time loop, the moon having something to do with reincarnation, the moon being the light at the end of the tunnel or being the trap. They're all possibilities, and like some of that stuff rings true for me. I think there's at least got to be some truth to it. I mean, I don't know exactly what's true about reality, but I got to at least consider it. Subjects, all programs like a computer, definitely. And okay, enough questions from the audience, or enough comments from the audience. We'll have to turn this into a new feature of the show, a new segment. But I do want to remind you once again to donate to End of Days Radio. Oh, it helps me so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody that has donated so far. I have been hoping and praying for donations. You guys have no idea how much they help me. They help me improve. They help me improve my life. They help me improve the life of my loved ones, because, hey, it helps me make ends meet, and it gives me incentive to do this show. I mean, I'll do this show anyways, but if I'm actually getting paid to do it, hell yeah, I'll get on here every day. I'll get on here twice a day. We'll do the news in the morning, and in the evening we can just roundtable it, and we'll bring guests on, and we'll just have this be like the hub for the revolution, right? This will be the hub for the rebellion. This will be like the center of the Galactic Alliance, or against the Galactic Alliance, or whatever. Mind-blowing moment of the day. Mind-blowing, 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 mind-blowing. All my instruments are too far away. Hold on one sec. Yes, oh yes. Mind-blowing, 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 mind-blowing moment of the day. It's today. It's here today to blow our minds. I'm terrible. So today's mind-blowing moment of the day would have to be when Josh told us about Suge Knight and him wanting to do gay stuff with Josh. Yikes. I wonder what he said to him. He's like, okay, Josh, now that we've been talking about rap, we've been talking about your career, I want you to put on this little schoolgirl outfit. What? I said I want you to put on this schoolgirl outfit. You want to be famous, don't you? God. I'm sorry. I shouldn't even talk this way. But I was shocked by that. I mean, Suge Knight is trying to rape Josh Monday. Not that he was trying to rape him. He's trying to get some consensual action going. But you guys know what I mean. Like, that's terrible. And I don't doubt it. Like, why would he's not a liar? He's a Christian. He's not a liar. And why would a guy that's trying to make it in rap be going around making up a lie about Suge Knight? You know, he told us if he was a liar, he would have been telling us like all these fake paranormal experiences he had. He'd be talking about meeting this or that person. But no, he just had that one story. I believe him, which is scary because that's some sick shit. I mean, not the fact that it's gay, but the fact that he's trying to do gay stuff to a straight guy in order to initiate him into the music industry, right? You have to bend over to become a rapper. You got to make the ultimate sacrifice. No, not your life. No, you don't have to kill a family member. You just have to bend over for a producer. Holy crap. Speaking of bending over, or speaking of male on male trauma, I've been watching that show Sons of Anarchy. My God, that show is brutal. That show is brutal. All this time, people have been telling me, Daniel, you want a show to binge? Watch Sons of Anarchy. You got to watch Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy, that's where it's at. So I finally sat down and I watched every episode of Sons of Anarchy. And holy crap, that's a lot of rape. That's a lot of rape. I don't particularly like watching stuff like that because because it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. You get up from watching something like that, you're just like, ugh. For one thing, I never want to go to prison, which shouldn't be a problem. But like, why? What does that add to the show? But overall, a pretty good show. Towards the end, but you know, that somebody's talking about something that happened in the show. I totally agree with that. I won't put that on the screen because it's a spoiler, you know, for the 10 people that haven't actually seen Sons of Anarchy yet. By the way, if you guys have recommendations for me to watch, send them to me. That's Daniel endofdaysradio@gmail.com. That's Daniel endofdaysradio@gmail.com. Daniel, spell Daniel, endofdaysradio, it's all one word, @gmail.com. So you can send me ideas for the show, you can send me guest recommendations, you can send me questions, you can send me comments. You can send me links to stuff. You can send me coupons. You can send me pictures. You can send me nudie pictures. No, I'm just joking, ladies. I'm a Christian. I do not want to see your nakedness. If you want to send pics in your underwear, nope, I can't allow that either. I'm sorry. Maybe in the past, maybe before I was 39, maybe before I was a Christian, but I will not let you ladies do that because I'm a gentleman. I'm not going to request your underwear pics. Although I have had those sent to me, even though I didn't ask, I have had them sent to me, which is what should I say? It was pleasant at the time, but now that I'm a Christian, I don't think that you should send me pictures of yourself in your undies. Unless you really want to. No, I'm just joking. I am a Christian, and that means none of that business. I'm making a promise to myself to, not that I ever treated women badly, but as far as like making certain jokes or acting pervy in certain situations, I'm done with all that. I'm done with that. It just doesn't work for my God and Bible believing self. It just doesn't work. So I'm changing my, what's this? Something about a gay guy and boyfriend in Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is awesome. Game of Thrones is freaking awesome. Like, I can see why you would recommend that. That's a really good show. It had its issues. I won't get into it. I think I have ranted about the ending of Game of Thrones on here before. I don't remember anything I did, but I'm pretty sure I have done that. So suffice it to say, I was really into Game of Thrones, and I'm excited about the spinoff or the prequel to Game of Thrones. That looks awesome. But I have this kind of conundrum going on. As you guys know, I'm a big Howard Stern fan. In fact, I was I've kind of like done shows with some of the people off of that show. Like I've gone on a podcast and talked to Hansy from the Howard Stern show. I've hung out with Elisa Jordana. That didn't end good. That did not end good. We don't talk anymore. But suffice it to say, I'm a huge Howard Stern fan. And I subscribe to Sirius, right? It's like what, $11.99 a month or something like that. It's cheaper than it used to be. And I love Howard, but I'm paying like $12. I remember like 7 to 12 years ago, Sirius had all kinds of content. It had all kinds of shows on all the stations. It had on the actual Howard Stern channels, there were tons of different shows. Like all the people in the Howard Stern world, like Jackie had a show, and all those, like, there was a whole news department. You really got your money's worth. Like there was George Norrie. I could talk about Coast to Coast and George Norrie for hours. Well, we have a history. This show and Coast to Coast, we have a history. I won't get into it right now, but there's a whole backstory there. This show's been on for a long time, and we've definitely encountered a lot of people in the field. Like most people in the so-called truth or conspiracy paranormal community, they know who I am. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm famous, but in that particular circle, most people do know who I am. Some of them think I'm a douchebag. Some of them like me very much. But hey, that's how it's going to go. I hope to expand on that and start going on more shows, and for the truth community to embrace me and take me more seriously. And if they don't do that, I'm just going to have to force them, like I've always done. Right? I mean, it's that simple. But anyways, back to Stern. So I'm a huge Howard Stern fan. Like I have all his books. I've seen private parts. I am a subscriber to Sirius, but you're paying money for it, and you're just getting the Howard Stern show. All those other shows this weird. All the channels on Sirius suck. Like the free music stations on the internet, like on what's it called? We're on there on the TuneIn Radio app. That stuff's better. Oh, by the way, go to the TuneIn Radio app and search End of Days Radio. We can get our 24/7 stream. This loops this show 24/7, and you can also get the individual podcasts there now. You can get them on Spotify. You can get me everywhere now. You can get End of Days Radio everywhere now. But I feel like I'm about to cancel my Sirius subscription and instead get HBO Max, because with HBO Max, you get the H.P. Lovecraft show, you get all the not all the movies, but a lot of movies that are out in theaters. You get the Game of Thrones prequel. You get tons and tons of different shows. Like there's ones I can't even remember that I know that I want to watch. So that's probably where I'm going to go with that. I mean, I'm paying for a lot of stuff, as probably you are. You know, you got the Hulu, you got the fucking Netflix, you got Disney Plus, Paramount Plus now, you got Peacock. If by the time you're done paying for all that crap, you're not even going to be able to afford your cable bill. You got to choose one or the other, right? And most people want both. So that puts you paying what, like $300 for all the normal TV shows and stuff that you watch? I don't know anybody that can afford that shit. I mean, you got to pick and choose. So I'm trying to pick the stuff that I actually like. I don't watch a whole lot of stuff, but there's certain programs that I really do like. Just to give you an idea, Cobra Kai. I have to see Cobra Kai. If I don't see Cobra Kai, I get very angry. So I got to keep my Netflix subscription. There's other stuff on Netflix I watch, like the anime Baki the Grappler, which is excellent. Netflix, I'm not going to go into it. It's boring, but there's a lot of stuff I watch on there. Hulu, that's where I watch wrestling. Like if I don't catch wrestling when it's on, I got to watch it on Hulu. So I can't get rid of Hulu. That's like probably the only thing I watch on there. Sometimes I jump into some of those shows like Sons of Anarchy and stuff like that. That's on there. It's pretty good. Like Hulu's worth your money. Hulu has tons of shit. Sorry. Um, that's about it though. Like, I have services that I don't even really watch very much, and I need to kind of get rid of them. But Sirius is probably going to be the number one because Sirius, you suck. Sirius, I don't know why you're in business. It must have something to do with all the car installations that you have, but you need to work on your game. There's so many podcasts out there that have great programming and great content. Why don't you bring them onto Sirius instead of paying? I've heard Stern say this too. Why are you paying Eminem all that money to do nothing? Why are you paying Oprah all that money to do nothing? Get rid of those idiots and just start bringing podcasters on there and have exclusive content. Now you have the whole app thing, so you can push your products and services online like iHeartRadio and all the rest of them. Think about the future. Get a good cast of podcasters on there. Serious, you should have had Joe Rogan, not Spotify. You should have had Joe Rogan. So you know what everybody's going to start listening to? Everybody's going to start listening to Spotify because that's where you get the shows that are popular and the ones people want to listen to. There's tons of crap on iHeartRadio. I've never received a job offer from either of those, but I'm just talking purely as a listener. You're not going to pay for something that's more expensive to get less. And I don't know, it's got to be because Stern's on there, because there's absolutely no other reason at all to pay for Sirius XM. It stinks. It fucking sucks. And if Stern wasn't on there, I would have canceled it a long time ago. And you know what sucks about that? Howard pisses me off lately. Like when he talks about, non-vaxxers, I get so pissed. Like every time he does that, I almost stop listening to him. And I think but I know he's just like a comedy guy, He's not woke. He's not aware of this stuff. He's not doing it because he's Illuminati or anything like that. People have tried to convince me Howard Stern is part of the Illuminati, but no, I followed him and his career too much. And I know how people behave when they're in the Illuminati. Like somebody who's in the Illuminati, like Poppy, obvious. Joe Rogan, 50-50. They might have came to him. He might be compromised. Probably not. Like he's probably just, somebody they can manipulate using other people or using other things. So I don't know about him. I'm like 50-50. Alex Jones, obviously, he's an agent. And there's tons and tons of them on Twitter. There's tons and tons of them on YouTube. I could point them out to you, but at some point you're going to have to learn to read the signs and the symbols and do these things yourself. If you what's with these freaking Russians spamming the chat? Are you kidding me? Take that shit back to Russia, motherfuckers. Nobody wants your stupid ass bullshit in the chat. You're so rude. You don't care about anybody but yourself. I don't want your cyber war, dude. Get out of here. What's this? I've seen a lot of advertising for Don't Look Up, but it seems real liberal, especially with Leo, but I'll probably check it out anyways. I saw that. That looks cool. I might check that one out. I got a couple more notes here, just things I want to talk about. Not going to go too much longer because we're at the 3.5 hour mark, and I don't know how you guys are still listening. I would have tuned out by now. No, I'm just kidding. Please keep listening. And donate as well, please. So I wanted to talk about the open line show. Apparently the open line show are a huge hit. I thought it was going to be like a secondary thing where the shows with the guests are really important, but so far people just keep telling me, yeah, there you go. I mean, there you go. People love the roundtable stuff. They love the open lines. I have fun with it too. I mean, I did a show today. It's Sunday. I'm thinking about most likely doing a show next Friday night. So we'll probably do it again Friday night. I just keep hearing more and more feedback. Everybody seems to love the open lines thing. When we go around and we roundtable it and we just randomly bring anybody on, anybody can jump in at any time. It's a lot more interactive. It's immersive. You can actually take part in it. And the things that happen are more spontaneous rather than me just bringing somebody on, asking them the usual typical questions. I know my questions are good. I'm a great interviewer, but it's fun to do something different. It's fun to do something where the people that listen to the show can actually make the show. That's really fun for me. And the feedback has been insane. I'm getting it I'm getting stuff every day. And if I don't do a show Friday, people are like, "Whoa, Daniel, why don't you ever thought of doing a show? Do you ever thought of doing a show every once in a while?" Yeah. I apologize Fridays when I'm not there because I will be here. I intend to keep that promise. So this Friday, baby, we're gonna rock it. We also have a show coming up on, so that's the 21st, and then we have a show on the 28th, the following Friday. That will not be an open line show, but we will open up the lines. We will open up the lines after the guest, and the guest on the 28th is going to be Chaz of the Dead. So this guy's got a crazy story. He's been on some other shows, and he talks about some really trippy stuff. He's done psychedelics, and he's also had some like supernatural experiences and stuff. So we'll be getting into that. Once again, please join the Discord. Go to endofdaysradio.com, click that link. We're up to like 70 people now. Ooh, and I have expanded the sections. So I've got a section there for Bible research. I've got a section there for the occult and secret societies. I've got a section there for UFO videos. So if you have anything you can contribute to those sections, that would be really freaking cool. And boy, I was thinking about doing another type of show too, where we just kind of come on. I come on here and I kind of like, this might not go over well. I don't know, but like some of you are aware, I'm a fan of some of these like preachers that do these sort of studies, and they'll actually explain stuff to people. So I was thinking about doing some stuff like that, like some really deep esoteric stuff that I sort of know about that I don't see really anybody else talking about. I was thinking about doing some stuff like that. Using this software, I can bring images up and I can really lay out an argument for certain things in the Bible and stuff like that. So I'm kind of toying with that, but I'm not sure how I would exactly do that. But I'm thinking about that because, as you know, I'm doing other things now besides just doing this show. You can go on my website and see certain articles that I wrote. I'm also going on a lot of different podcasts and stuff. I'm even laying down the foundation of possibly doing some documentary work. So we'll see what happens there. But the whole End of Days radio thing, it is certainly expanding, and don't think that that's going to take away from this show, because this show is, of course, the main thing, and it has so many fans. I can never pull myself away from it. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I'm going to start talking like this from now on. Very masculine. I'm going to grunt every once in a while. I'm always going to have a pepperoni stick in my mouth. Hello, everybody. This is End of Days Radio, and this is Daniel with his... Oh, man, that hurts. I always wanted to have a deep radio voice like John B. Wells. Welcome, everybody, to the Arc to Midnight. I'm your host, John B. Wells. Right? I listened to him the other day. I love John B. Wells. He's awesome. And, I pretty much love everybody from coast to coast besides George and Art. Sorry, George. I still hate you. I'm such an asshole sometimes. And I even laugh at my own jokes. Where'd that go? I didn't know here. So I've been talking a lot about Freemasons on Twitter. Those of you that follow my speaking of like other things I do, people that follow my Twitter account know that I'm crazy on Twitter. Like, I'm freaking a lunatic on Twitter. Like, I don't follow the typical Twitter rules at all. I just spam. I just say whatever I want whenever I want. So my Twitter feed is a whole nother show unto itself. And I have been having some like censorship issues lately. So I've been getting on Getter, Gettr. I've kind of been building up on there. But if you're not into Twitter, or if you are into Twitter, I highly recommend checking out Getter. It is Chinese, but it's almost exactly like Twitter. If you need an alternative where you're not going to be censored, Getter. That's where you should be hooking up. If you go on Getter, I'm not Ninja Shoes on there. I'm at End of Days Radio. I decided just to do End of Days Radio. So please follow me on Getter. And I'm going to start posting on that more as opposed to Twitter, because Twitter is having those issues, like I said. And I heard Rumble is not censored. Cool. I'll have to check that out. I think the show's on Rumble, actually. I think so. Yes, it is. What the hell was I gonna say? I'm going on 4 hours. I'm starting to have brain farts. Oh, that's right. Anyways, so back to Twitter. So on Twitter, I've been talking about the Freemasons a lot, and man, it's so weird because yeah, see, Sherry knows what I'm talking about. I'm crazy on Twitter. People tell me to shut up all the time. But I also have a very big following on there. A lot of people that follow me on there, they also listen to the show, but some don't. Some people only listen to the show. Some people only follow me on Twitter. But that's sort of like the secondary place where I express myself. But I've been talking about the Freemasons because I've been researching the Freemasons. And there's a lot to research there. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on Freemasonry. I don't know that much about it compared to some of these fools out there. But I do know enough to know that it's negative. It's not a good thing. And I'm probably offending a lot of people here. I have no doubt that I'm offending people, but I know what's behind Freemasonry. I know it's Luciferian at the very highest level. And I talk about that on Twitter, and I talk about some of the other little clues that you can pick up on to kind of prove to yourself that these are, in fact, devil worshippers, right? I was on Twitter. Sorry you had an experience like that. Jeez. And you know what's worse about it? They if you do have a lot of followers, they treat you unfairly. Like the more followers you have, the less likely you are to get any shit from them, which is totally unfair. It's kind of protecting me a little bit, but I know my time is short on there. That's why I'm getting into other platforms. Also, check out TLB Talk because that is a project I'm really supporting. I'm on TLB Talk and I try to post on there daily. But and this is important. I'm sorry if I'm boring you, but we need to talk about these alternative places that we can go to if we're experiencing this big tech censorship, because that's a big problem we're having nowadays. So we need to talk about this stuff. We need to discuss other places that we can go. I often hear people say, "Oh no, you got to be on Twitter. Twitter's the battlefield. Don't go on there. Don't go on that other place." Yeah. No, you got the wrong idea. You got the wrong idea. When we go on other places, it makes us have more of the power, right? We get more of the power instead of them having 100% of it. It's like a wrestler being able to go to AEW instead of just WWE. Oh, now I can negotiate. Well, no, I want 20 million instead of 19 million. AEW give me 19 million, or they'll give me 20 million. So is WWE going to give me 20 million? That's exactly how it works. We have to go on the other programs, the other apps, so that we have more power. And they can't come down on us as hard because, we'll just leave, right? All the celebs, all the influencers like myself, we'll just pick up our bags and go on to the other thing. Let's see, Rofkin, what's that? Is that another app? Because I love them all, right? I want to be on all of them because I'm that type of tool. But anyways, I digress. Let me finish my story before I piss everybody off. So Freemasons worship the devil. And I would love to get deeper into it. And I might do one of those shows where I really go into it. But every time I talk about the Freemasons, actual real Freemasons start getting offended and they start like coming at me, right? And I notice that they do this. If you are talking about them in a way that they don't like, they will actually show up. If you're doing it on a forum or on social media or something like that, you actually will get a lot of them showing up. And this one guy, he started to come at me and he was giving me a pretty good argument. He's like, yeah, my dad was a Mason, and I agree with that. Twitter is haunted. I've had so many supernatural experiences on there. I've talked about them extensively on this show, and I will continue to talk about them. Twitter is hella demonic. It's hella demonic. But yeah, there's a lot of Freemasons on there. They don't like when you talk about them. Like some of the things they say, it's almost like borderline threatening. But oh yeah, the Illuminati stuff. Like I've had both try to recruit. I've had the fake scammy ones try to recruit me, which I knew were a scam, and I've actually had the real Illuminati people. I don't know if you. Yeah, we know about that. I don't know if you. What the fuck was I talking about? The thing about this chat room, it totally distracts me. I know I was talking about Freemasons. And I know that some of the things they've said about me have been kind of threatening, but I had one guy talking to me, and he was giving me some good arguments, but I actually out debated him by just bringing up things that I know, right? For example, the Freemasons use a basically like a colored upside down star, like a pentagram, right? And it has different colors in all the parts. Well, that particular symbol is actually a Luciferian symbol. So I could point that out, right? And I could point out the fact that the Bavarian Illuminati bragged about taking over Masonic lodges, and their whole goal was to take all of them over, right? There you go. So we know from history, we know that the Masonic lodges were taken over by something evil, right? We know that they tell you if you disobey your orders, if you go around telling people Masonic secrets, that they will kill you, right? So how would you, thank you, Sherry. How would you actually, how is that being free, right? If you tell people our secrets will kill you, what's the big secret that the general population can't know about it? Then you have the fact that they make you do like homoerotic sort of things when you're joining. And also, I think if you continue to be a member, I don't know that for sure, but at least some of the initial sort of initiation things, they're very like homo orientated. And again, I say this all the time. It's nothing against gay people. We love gay people on End of Days Radio. We love gays. We love trans. We love pans. We love bis. We love whatever you are, whatever you're into. People that there's a girl I know on Twitter. She's in love with a train, an actual train. Her boyfriend is a train, and she loves this train, and she writes poetry to it, and she talks about their relationship. It's a train, but she's really nice, and she always gives me a good response, is always kind to me. So, if that's what you're into, I don't judge you. But I think the fact that Freemasonry is forcing you to take part in this stuff, that probably means it's a bad thing, right? Yeah. And the fact, I'm not done yet. Oh, I'm not done. Look at all these world leaders, like the Queen, like the Pope, like Putin, like the presidents. They do those Masonic handshakes with each other. This stuff where they reach the finger around, they go, "Yee," stuff like that, right? Or you see them do this. This is the 666. What are some other ones? This is Illuminati. When you blink like that. But Masons do that. They do the thing with the hand in the coat, and of course the handshakes. They'll wear little ornaments, like little Freemasonry symbols, and they'll do stuff like that. And you see our world leaders doing that stuff. So the Masons will tell you we're all separate lodges, we're all separate, and we don't have any overreaching conspiracy going on. But if that's the case, why are these world leaders wearing Masonic symbols? Yeah, see, now you're starting to see it. You're starting to see what I see. Maybe I should love a train. Well, I mean, some of my past relationships haven't been that great. Maybe I would have been better off just falling in love with my mixer, falling in love with my mic. Oh. Um But the fact that like the Queen is wearing a Masonic brooch, whatever, or some other leader is wearing all kinds of Masonic stuff, you can recognize their regalia. You can tell what they're about. You can tell they're initiated into some kind of secret society, and they're all basically the same thing, right? Because we know the Bavarian Illuminati took them all over, and it all became the Illuminati. It probably happened way before that. That story's probably bullshit. But we know that it happened at some point. Then you have the last thing, which is when you watch these TV shows and movies, you see chessboards, black and white squares everywhere, right? Yeah, I've gone deep. And I don't even tell you guys everything that I know because I know it's dangerous. But if you watch these movies and TV shows, you always see Masonic symbology, right? What's going on there? It's because the Freemasons go further than just the 33 degrees. They go further than the Council of 33. Each area has its own, each major area, like there's a Council of 33 for North America, a Council of 33 for South America, not South America, but the southern states. And you have those all around the world. You have one for the Scottish Rite, one for the York Rite. And they do this to create the illusion that they're separate, right? That they don't. There's not any overarching conspiracy. But then, in that case, why is there, all these councils, like the Council of Foreign Relations, and why are these people in Bilderberg all kind of showing off this Masonic regalia? We know that it goes further than that. We know it's all connected. We can go on Google Images and bring up the charts and see how things relate. Not that any of those are accurate, but we can get a pretty basic understanding of how the world shadow government works. And the secret societies, they start at the Masonic Blue Lodge level, and you go up, and then you have other councils that you can join and other societies that branch off from the top layer of Masonry, where you get into the really deep stuff. Like Skull and Bones, they're Masonic. They might not advertise that they're part of Masonry. They prefer for us to think that there's something different, but you damn better be sure that they're using the Skull and Bones, which is a Masonic symbol, and using all the same initiation rites and all the same symbology. So there you go. I can prove that the Illuminati exists. I can prove that Freemasonry is part of it. I can prove it using simple logic. Everybody should be able to do this, right? That's how we're going to wake people up. But if we do it too hard and too fast, they might just kill us. So kind of like, it's a balance. But I've said too much, and I've gone almost 4 hours. I'm not supposed to do that because it gives me a very large file. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of this. Remember to be back here next Friday night at 5 p.m. We're going to go all pure open lines. That means the show's going to be about whatever you guys want to make it. Or just come on here and do a show, and we'll go as long as we can before we start having crazy audio issues or I lose my mind, right? So I'll see you guys then. Until then, good night, my people. Good night, my people of faith. My spiritual folk out there. Good freaking night.
Winter's coming.
The king has returned from the broken ruins of Babylon. This is the end of days.